come alive on NBC Sports. With a blend of tradition and the latest in television technology, we're building tomorrow's memories today, right here on NBC.
Today on NBC Sports, Dave Parker leads the Cincinnati Reds into Shea Stadium to face Darryl Strawberry and the red-hot, league-leading New York Mets. And some of you will see Steve Garvey and his San Diego Padres travel to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field to take on the Chicago Cubs. But first, NBC Sports presents Major League Baseball, an inside look, brought to you by the makers of Tums, the sodium-free antacid that's rich in calcium, and by Raytheon Company, where quality starts with fundamentals.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marv Albert in New York, and we have an attractive day of baseball coming up here on NBC. The 19-4 New York Mets going against a Cincinnati team that has to be considered the disappointment of the early going, and some of you will be seeing the Padres and the Cubs. Now, this has been a week of managerial jeopardy around the major leagues. Yesterday, the announcement that, yes, Tony La Russa will remain as manager of the Chicago White Sox. Also yesterday, the word that Dick Williams is back in baseball as manager of the Seattle Mariners. Lou Gellis of King Television in Seattle has this report.
Terrific. I saw a little film.
It was the worst kept secret in Seattle. When Chuck Cottier was fired Thursday, the Mariners would not confirm that their new manager was Dick Williams. But that's who showed up for Friday's press conference to introduce the new Seattle Mariners skipper.
This team had a lot of preseason positive press. A team that many felt could be a contender, or at least to be right in the thick of things. Do you think that's true, and can you turn things around?
Well, the players are the ones that swing the bat and throw the ball and run the bases. I feel the same way, that the talent is here. We hope that we can all work as a cohesive unit and play as a team. Right now, probably, the players are over-trying. They're trying to do it all by themselves. If we go at it and everybody keeps what they can do in perspective and don't try to do somebody else's job, I think it'll all gel. I really do.
So Dick Williams is back. Meanwhile, Billy Martin went 0 for 2 this week. He was considered for both the Mariners and White Sox jobs. Now, yesterday, the Sox, in a most unusual move, actually called a news conference to announce that Tony La Russa, who's been under fire, to say the least, will remain as manager of the Chicago White Sox. Tony is with us from Cleveland, where the White Sox will take on the Indians once again today. Tony, what has it been like for you with the daily rumors circulating that you were about to be fired at any moment?
Well, Marv, personally, there was some apprehension, some tough times, but, it really paled in comparison with the fact that every time we took the field last week, we got beat. And when you're concentrating on winning games and you're not, some of these other things don't seem quite as important.
Are you angered by the manner in which the White Sox handled it? It's as if they left you twisting in the wind.
Well, I think people looked at it a little worse than I thought it was. No, I wasn't angry. I'm a little embarrassed. But at the same time, see, the organization was doing a lot of things right, too. They were keeping me posted. I knew all the things that were happening. I knew all the considerations they were having. And they gave me a couple of options that showed me where their thoughts and their hearts were. So in the end, they gave me the chance to keep managing.
Now, White Sox Executive Vice President Hawk Harrelson said that you'll now be given the chance to run things your way, and I assume this means that Carlton Fisk will return behind the plate. And I know you were not thrilled with the extra coaches, and both Willie Horton and Mo Drabowski now will be reassigned.
Well, Marv, very quickly on that, Carlton Fisk, that was my move to put him in left field. So the fact that he's going to be catching some is not because all of a sudden I've got my old style back. It's just the fact we're struggling and you need to make a change. But the fact is that my old style did not include a lot of coaches. And there's no reflection on Mo and Willie. It's just that, I don't buy the idea that the more the better. I think a more simple thing is less confusing for the players, and you get to be more effective that way.
Any truth to the report that you offered to resign on Thursday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I think we needed a change. We were really struggling where we were, and either get rid of me or do something different. Or they always told me, do you honestly feel you can pull it off? And I'd always said yes. And come Thursday, I honestly didn't think that I could do a good job, that we could win with the situation the way it was. But see here, they gave me the opportunity to leave and still get paid, which tells me a lot about that organization.
Tony, good luck. So Tony La Russa, who said only yesterday there are no rope marks on my neck, remains as manager of the Chicago White Sox. We'll be back with that improbable success story involving the Cleveland Indians right after these words.
Brill cream, a little dollop will do ya.
Dab.
Not this. New Brill Cream Mousse. A little dollop gives my hair soft, natural control all day.
Mmm.
New Brill Cream Men's Grooming Mousse.
Brill cream, a little dollop will do ya.
Guess what thousands of doctors are recommending for women who need extra calcium? Tums. Surprised? It's true. Tums isn't just a great antacid, it's also rich in calcium.
Ace is really one busy place, Dan.
We just got your Ace anniversary sale circular, Connie. These May best buys.
Oh, yes. This Ace Roller Sponge Mop is only $2.99 with a $1 off rebate. And these lightweight take-along folding chairs are only $5.55 each.
Red and blue. I'll take 2 of each. Charge 'em.
This Ace Rain Dance Wash and Wax Car Care Kit with the $4 rebate is just $5.88.
Certainly does the job.
Even without all this help.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
At Midas, we've always been proud of the job we do. A lot of our new customers are referred to us by our old ones.
Howdy, boys.
Welcome back, Mr. Creedy. You see, good service, good prices. The word gets around. Like our fantastic anniversary sale. We're giving you 25% off every Midas muffler. A sale like this doesn't come along every day.
Take it to Midas.
I love a sale.
Take it to someone you trust.
Welcome back to New York, and we're set to check out the news of the week in baseball, starting with last night at Shea Stadium here in New York as the Mets beat the Reds by the score of 2-1. Bob Ojeda equaled his career high with 10 strikeouts, extending his record to 5-0. In the 8th inning, the key play of the game, the Mets up by 1. Here's Dave Parker lashing one. Watch Len Dykstra, a game saver for Dykstra, robbing Parker of a 2-run home run. Of course, much to the dismay of Dave Parker. Following a rough outing the other day, pitcher John Denny of Cincinnati took his frustrations out on the dugout camera. Undaunted by the pressure, the fearless cameraman donned the hard hat and was back to business as usual. In Chicago the other day, off the pop fly, here comes shortstop Sean Dunston. Here he comes. Look out, he tripped over the mound, and Leon Durham made the catch. And last Sunday, after winning their 7th in a row, beating the White Sox in Chicago, the Indians received a hero's welcome as 300 loyal supporters turned out at the airport. And then Monday night, the Tribe kept the streak going. Phil Niekro picking up his first win in relief since 1980, when Pat Tabler's infield hit with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 10th gave the Indians a win that kept the excitement going on the shores of Lake Erie. Now, last night, 48,000 turned out. The Indians finally lost the game, losing to the White Sox. But there is a new spirit in Cleveland. So the Cleveland Indians, a club that lost 102 games a year ago, a team that has finished 500 or better only 5 times the last 25 years, is 17-9. They're just off a 10-game win streak, and they're only a half game out of first place. Andre Thornton, who has suffered through some brutal years with the Indians, is with us from Cleveland. Andre, how do you explain the extraordinary turnaround? Nothing at all was expected of this ball club.
Well, Marv, first of all, we realize we have a good offensive club, and I think we proved that over the last couple of years. Certainly we were short in pitching, and our defense was not as good as we'd like it to have been. But this year, our pitching has kept us into a lot of ball games. We have been able to do the things that we had hoped to do, and what do you know? We're in first place or close to it. So what can you say about the game of baseball except you go out and play, and you hope that you can do the job?
Was there a point this season where you were able to step back and say to yourself, hey, this isn't a bad ball club?
Well, I've said that before. From the standpoint offensively, we just needed a little bit of pitching help. We just needed some pitchers that could keep us close in ball games, and our offense would be able to score some runs. This year, with the addition of Niekro and Candiotti and Schramm, Heaton has been throwing the ball well for us. Schultz has come on and did a good job for us. Camacho, Kern, these guys are the bullpen. Bales, a young player from AA last year. They've done the job for us, and they've allowed us to be able to be competitive.
How has your life changed personally in that now you're winning instead of losing?
Marv, the only thing is that it makes it much more of a joy to come to the ballpark, and you like the fans to participate in the game with you, and it certainly feels good when you're able to do the job, and people appreciate that. But personally, I mean, my life is still the same. My family is my joy. I thank the Lord for the privilege of playing, and other than the fact that the game is so much more fun now, nothing has changed.
Andre, thank you. Andre Thornton of the revitalized Cleveland Indians, and we'll be back with the one-time Padre, Indian, Pirate, Ranger, Royal, and Brewer. Did I leave anyone out? Kurt Bavacqua is just ahead.
At Raytheon Company, we believe that success comes from mastering the fundamentals. That's why we admire people like Tom Kite, people who are dedicated to perfecting the fundamentals, practicing them day in and day out until they become second nature. So whether it's in electronics, aviation, appliances, or energy, Raytheon works hard on the fundamentals. Because at Raytheon, we believe quality starts with fundamentals.
These old-fashioned shingles have worn out before their time. The culprit, insides of mere paper. Ugh.
Now these are long-lasting Owens Corning shingles. They have a heart of pink fiberglass, so they shrug off moisture, keep their cool and baking sun, and glide through winter after winter.
And that is no snow job.
Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
Your baseball heroes come to life in an all-star battle. Home run slugger Mike Schmidt, batting champion Wade Boggs, and Montreal speedster Tim Raines. Joe Garagiola hosts a showdown of baseball's best at the Big League Decathlon Challenge on NBC Sports World.
I think, being elected to the Hall of Fame was probably one of the most exciting and surprising things that ever happened to me. I never even really played baseball. I mean, I enjoyed a good game of softball, but when you think of all the great players that haven't been elected, well, I'm just thrilled and very, very grateful.
All right. From time to time on the Baseball Pregame Show, we will be visited by some of baseball's intriguing personalities, and Kurt Bavacqua is certainly that. Kurt spent 19 years as a professional player, changed teams 17 times, a major leaguer for 14 years, finishing up with the Padres last season. Kurt, best known for this sequence in the '84 World Series against Detroit, the stumble, and he was thrown out at third. However, in all fairness, we should point out, very next game, the dramatic home run with 2 men on to bring the Padres from behind to the victory. And back in '75, remember this, Kurt, thrilling the nation by winning the Major League bubblegum blowing contest hosted by our own Joe Garagiola. Certainly one of sports' great moments over the years.
Oh, it was a highlight until '84, but now looking at the bubble, I don't know what had more hair on it, the bubble or Joe's head.
You are terrible. You played for 18 managers in the major leagues throughout your career. Who's the best manager you ever played for?
They flip of a coin between Dick Williams and Danny Murtaugh. I admire them both. They're both innings ahead of other managers. I haven't had a chance to play for guys like Whitey Herzog or Billy Martin or Earl Weaver, so I'm not really sure what their strategical moves are.
Dick Williams, in taking the Seattle job, says he will be nice. Is that possible? He'll be a nice guy, he said.
It's very possible. Dick can be a nice person as long as they win every game, don't make any fundamental or mental mistakes, and nobody walks any hitters. The pitchers are all fine. Dick will be nice, as nice can be.
What is the downside of Dick Williams?
Dick, I would say playing for Dick is similar to being the personal cook for Muammar Gaddafi.
Oh.
Every meal better be prepared exactly right.
You're going to hear from Mr. Williams. Who's the worst manager you ever played for?
Well, I think that has to go to Jerry Coleman, in all respect to his broadcasting ability.
Is that a runaway? Is there anyone close?
No. Hands down.
No question.
It's a no-brainer.
What went on between you and Tom Lasorda? I know that the two of you are not great fans of one another.
Tommy, we had some words, and Tommy made
statements that I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat.
Nice.
And things like that. And I was the type of player that he would send limousines for to make sure I got to the ballpark on time. And it irritated me a little bit.
This would serve to irritate you.
Well, he came down to San Diego, and I sent him a limousine. It was a Volkswagen limousine with a midget driver, and he would not take it.
Kurt, thank you for coming by, I think.
With the pizza in the back seat.
Kurt Bevacqua, former San Diego Padre and a man who played under many managers during the course of his Major League career. We have baseball just ahead here on NBC. The Mets and the Reds are coming up with Vin and Joe, and the Padres and the Cubs with Bob and Tony. And congratulations to Bob and Randy Costas, parents of a baby boy born yesterday. Bob, incidentally, has reneged on the promise to name the youngster Kirby after the hot-hitting Kirby Puckett, but instead the Costas family has decided to name the boy Marvin. This is Marv Albert in New York. Let's go to the ballpark.
Last summer, Code of Vengeance was a blockbuster. Now he's back with a vengeance in the all-new Code of Vengeance 2.
Don't do it. You think you could stop me?
Nobody owns him.
I'd try.
Nobody tells him what to do. He's there to help on a mission of mercy.
That bomb's gonna explode!
He's the only one between life and death for hundreds. Code of Vengeance 2, Sunday.
Have you tried the $1.99 buffet here at the Railroad Pass Casino? Oh, it is a beauty. $1.99 with a different country every day of the week. And you've got all kinds of entrees to choose from, and veggies and salads and good things. I think you'll like it, and I want you to try it. Regardless of whatever night you come in, we're going to have a different country for you. 7 nights a week at $1.99 at the Railroad Pass Casino. I think you'll enjoy it.
There's a lot going on in my life. My job, family, recreation, investments for the future. At Allstate Car Sales, I've found the people, prices, and terms to fit my life. A luxury car to pamper the clients, a wagon or van for our family outings, and a price I can live with in the future. I do a lot of things, but when it comes to cars, I do it with Allstate. Because at Allstate, I get it all.
Hi, I'm Rick Wilden of Allstate Car Sales. Come see our huge stock of quality vehicles today. At Allstate Car Sales, you get it all.
Turn to 3 for Bob Newhart tonight at 6:30.
October of '84, after winning the first 2 at Wrigley, the Cubs' World Series dream is shattered in San Diego. The Padres take 3 straight there, and they claim the National League pennant. In 1984, the Cubs and Padres won easily in their respective divisions. But in '86, the Cubs are 5 under 500, and they trail the streaking Mets by 10 in the National League East. The Padres are a game over 500, 2.5 off the pace in the West.
National Broadcasting Company. And baseball's moments. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today, from Wrigley Field in Chicago, it's the San Diego Padres versus the Chicago Cubs. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By John Deere and your local John Deere dealer. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A sunny, breezy day at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Temperatures in the 60s as Dennis Eckersley prepares to take the mound for the Cubs against Lamar Hoyt for San Diego.
Hi, everybody. Bob Costas with Tony Kubek. Yesterday here, Andy Hawkins over Rick Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe now 1-5 for the Cubs. A 6-2 Padre victory featuring homers by Flannery, Kennedy, and McReynolds. Let's talk about today's pitchers, beginning with Lamar Hoyt, his third outing since coming back from the substance abuse program.
Bob, it looks like a pitcher's day out here today with the wind blowing in off Lake Michigan, as you said. Lamar Hoyt would like to get 9 innings today. His manager, Steve Boras, says he would like to give him just 5. Hoyt very important to the starting rotation, as is Goose Gossage at the other end. I think Steve Boras still looking for a leadoff hitter and would like more power production from Steve Garvey, Terry Kennedy, and, of course, Kevin McReynolds with that home run yesterday.
Can the young second baseman Bip Roberts be that leadoff man? He was 3 for 4 yesterday. Now, on the Cubs side, Jim Fry goes with Dennis Eckersley.
Eckersley also excellent control. He throws strikes. We could be in store for a very quick ball game today, but we'll see here in Wrigley Field. A very slow, plodding team, the Chicago Cubs. Jimmy Fry is struggling with the defense, trying to get some hitting going. They're not hitting very well, but 2 exciting players. Ryan Sandberg, of course, is just outstanding, one of the 5 best in the game, and a young shortstop, Sean Dunston. But a shortstop or a star of the future, about the 2nd or 3rd inning today, young Keith Michael Costas will be 1 day old, and it's only fitting that he should probably end up with this in his crib when you get home.
Obviously, the kid has power to all fields. Back with the starting lineup in a minute.
Folks stand proud and tall. They'll look you right in the eye. A place where pride is worth a whole lot more than money can buy. Where people care about their family. Where laughter's sincere. Where your word is your word. A friend's a friend and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA. Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today. Miller's made the American way.
Miller contains no additives, no preservatives. Miller beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
The horse, one of the world's most powerful domesticated animals. Now this small pickup, the tough 86 Ford Ranger STX, has harnessed unbeaten horsepower in a small pickup. Now Ranger has 140 horses under its stylish hood in a new improved V6 engine. More horsepower than even Toyota's Turbo. And Ranger's 140 horses mean down-to-earth power. Power to run. Power for real driving fun. The Ford Ranger STX Super Cab, voted 4x4 of the year.
Get 5.9% financing at your participating Ford dealer now.
The following message is furnished by Major League Baseball.
Strike 3!
Yeah!
You know, I always wanted the best for my kids. The best neighborhood, the best schools. But most important was my father's advice. Give of yourself. Dad would always find time to have a catch with us or take us to a ball game. I think that gave us a special family closeness.
Hey, Dad, catch.
That's why I take my kids to baseball games. You owe it to them.
Major League Baseball, a family tradition.
This is Steve Boros, manager of the San Diego Padres, and this is today's lineup. At second base, Leon Bip Roberts, a young, exciting rookie. In center field, if he gets back from Pittsburgh, where he's visiting his wife and new son, Marvell Wynn. In right field, one of the best hitters in baseball, hitting third for the 2nd day in his career, Tony Gwynn. At first base, All-American boy and an All-American player, Steve Garvey at first base. Hitting 5th and catching, Terry Kennedy, who's got a new stroke and has been a big help to our pitching staff. In left field, Kevin McReynolds, who had the big 3-run homer yesterday. At third base, the veteran, Greg Nettles. At shortstop, filling in for Gary Templeton, Tim Flannery. And on the mound, and a big addition to our pitching staff, Lamar Hoyt.
Well, Marvell Wynn did not make it from the airport in time. Young Marvell Jr. being born to wife April on Thursday, and so instead, John Kruk will get the start in left field, and he will bat second behind Bip Roberts. And before we move to any other business, let's clear something up right away. With all due respect to Marv Albert, our outstanding pregame show host, Marvin was never in contention for the name of the young Costas. He has misled the American public.
Well, we'll talk a little more about young Mickey. Matthews, Mumphrey, and Moreland, they won't cover a lot of ground out in the outfield. Say, he is slowed down considerably at third base. Dunston, Sandberg, they are going to be great someday. Sandberg already is. Durham at first, Davis behind the plate throwing very well. And Dennis Eckersley, who throws nothing but strikes, usually.
Well, evidence of that, he's averaged just over 2 walks per 9 innings pitched throughout his career. And when he walked 3 in his first outing of this season, it was the first time he'd done that in 38 starts. Bip Roberts used to be in the Pirate organization, takes ball 1. He opened the season 0 for 20. He's picked up a little since then, was 3 for 4 yesterday. Say in on the grass, looking for the bunt. 1-1.
There have been times, as we look at Say up tight, Dunston shading over toward left field for Roberts. There have been times when Eckersley has had trouble with left-handed hitters, and he's learned to adjust, and we'll show you how. He will come inside like that, but when you watch Eckersley's position on the pitcher's rubber, he pitches off the first base side, and he runs fastballs away to left-handed hitters, and by taking that angle, the ball is actually, just slightly moving away a little bit more percentage-wise from a left-hander. Tougher to get on it.
1-2 pitch. And the count holds. In his last 3 outings, despite the overall season's ERA of better than 4, which you saw a moment ago, Eckersley has pitched well. He has little to show for it, as his team has scored just 3 runs for him in his last 3 starts. But he struck out 20 in those 3 starts while walking only 2 and allowing less than a hit per inning pitched. So he's getting back on the beam. Again, the 1-2. 2-2 to Bip Roberts.
5 of his 6 starts have been quality starts. Going 6 innings with 3 runs or less. Just that one 8-run ball game he had, he actually gave up 6.
He slaps it by Say, but look at Dunston. Doesn't get him.
You just saw what hurts this Cub team so terrifically. Ron Say's lack of mobility at third base. He's 38 years old. Sean Dunston has been making play after play into the hole. This one with the speed of Roberts he can't make. He made a great play a couple of days ago against the Dodgers. Some say the best they have seen for a shortstop throwing from short left field.
An astonishing play on Thursday off a ball hit by Mike Scioscia of the Dodgers onto the grass, whirling and throwing and getting him.
Dallas Green, the general manager of the Cubs, has talked about giving Say and Matthews in left field the opportunity to play over a stretch of time to get their bats in gear. And with Matthews playing on one leg and Say immobile, defense will kill this pitching staff. I believe that in the next couple of days, Jimmy Fry is going to take Keith Moreland and move him to third base. And probably platoon some players in the outfield. Strength in third, strength in right field. Looks like he's going.
Roberts was caught stealing by Jody Davis twice yesterday. Davis has thrown out the last 5 runners who tried to steal against him. And he's caught 50% of those who've attempted to steal against the Cubs this year, an excellent percentage.
And there's no coincidence either. For 2 years, Johnny Oates, who's now their bullpen coach, has worked with Jody Davis, speeding up his release and footwork.
First pitch coming to Kruk. At first.
Oh, my.
Almost.
He had him leaning. Eckersley at one time, quite easy to steal off, but coming over to the National League, the snap throw, he's gone, folks. I believe he had him on the hand, Leon Roberts.
Roberts has stolen 2 this year, but been caught 4 times. There he goes, and it's fouled out of play. That bad stolen base percentage is a malady he has in common with plenty of teammates. Steve Boros came over here and wanted to run, wanted to be aggressive, but check this. The Padres have stolen 13 this year, but been caught stealing 19 times. And the people who analyze baseball statistics will tell you that in order for the stolen base to be a truly winning proposition, you've got to be successful minimum 2/3 of the time. Break even is a losing proposition, and the Padres have been caught 6 more times than they have stolen successfully.
Cubs haven't been much better. They've stolen 13 and caught 11 times. But they'll steal more when Dernier gets back in the lineup. And Dunston learns to run.
Dernier hasn't been hitting at all, replaced of late by Jerry Mumphrey.
John Kruk with an unusual batting stance, and he picks that right leg up, his timing device. He's got a little pop. very unorthodox stance. Remember Bobby Toland, when he first broke in, had his hands even higher than John Kruk. When the ball's in the hitting area, they come down, and he closes that stance.
Pitch when Eckersley decides to make it. Here it comes, not running, and fouled back to the screen, 0-2.
The kind of day where an Eckersley or a Hoyt will not be afraid to come inside too often to left-handed hitters with the wind blowing in from right field. There is a jet stream, though, and it showed last night in 3 home runs hit to left. In left center field down the left field line, the ball was flying out here yesterday. There's the wind out of the northeast off Lake Michigan.
Eckersley, of course, has been one throughout his career to give up a lot of home runs, 25 to 30 a season on average, and he has that in common with other outstanding control pitchers, the Hunters, the Jenkins, the Doyle Alexanders. A drive to center. Back goes Mumphrey, and it is out of here. It's in the bleachers. Over the 368 sign, and the wind caught that one for sure.
Yeah, the wind pushed it to the short part of the ballpark, 368. You don't have to hit them very hard here in this ballpark. It looked like it was going to be too high, but it shoved it over 25 to 30 feet to the short part.
And Steve Boros just put in a call to the phone, and Marvell Wynn's limousine said, take your time. No need to go heavy on the gas. This guy's got it covered.
Like Sutcliffe yesterday, pitches up in the strike zone. That about belt high, a little bit higher. 3 of those hit off Sutcliffe yesterday. Eckersley got the ball up. And typical Wrigley Field home run.
First ever for John Kruk. Gwynn fouls it away. Hitting .345. He's .325 for his career in what amounts to 3 full seasons. The batting champion in '84 at .351.
Been scalding the ball over the last dozen ball games, hitting over 400. In fact, over his last 18 games, Tony Gwynn is at .384. He is in a groove. He'll never get out of a groove very often. All hitters are streak hitters. His slumps are shorter, and his hitting streaks are longer.
For the last 2 years, he's led the majors in multiple hit games. Doesn't strike out a lot. Pretty good running speed. Eckersley got his glove on it. Now can't find it. What got him?
The grass is very slow in the infield, but that hit the first hop on the hard pan in front of home plate. And it was all but self-defense for Eckersley. He does not end up in a very good follow-through position, but somehow comes back and instinctively pounces on the ball and makes an outstanding play.
What you hear now is the reception for Steve Garvey. These fans are still wounded from the '84 playoffs. So look at the high grass. They keep it that way because of the lack of mobility for Ron Say. This is hit very softly, but in a good place perhaps. No, it's foul.
And that grass is kept short for first base, Durham. And, of course, Say on the other side. And also, when you watch Sean Dunston play, he plays most right-handed hitters in the hole. He knows that he's got to protect his right and Say's left. That will slow the ball down, the tall, thick grass.
In one of the great games in League Championship Series history, Steve Garvey went 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs, including a 2-run homer to win it. And here's a line drive to left that is in there in front of Matthews. So what an inning it's been for Eckersley. An infield single by Roberts, opposite field home run, windblown for Kruk. Wynn almost takes his head off with a shot back to the mound, and now Garvey singles to left. To complete the thought about Garvey, we all remember Game 4 in San Diego in '84. The Cubs had a chance to lock it up. Garvey almost single-handedly brought the Padres back. They won that day 7-5, beat Sutcliffe the next day for the National League pennant, and these fans here have not forgotten.
I'm not so certain that that last pitch, a breaking ball that was up, hit by Steve Garvey to left, wasn't catchable if Gary Matthews had a good leg.
Catcher Terry Kennedy is the hitter, batting just .223.
The Cubs defense second as far as making errors to the Cardinals, who have made fewer than anybody in the National League, but that doesn't count the balls that the Cardinals get and the Cubs don't. You make your pitchers throw 4 or 5 extra hitters on balls that might have been catchable but weren't, you can get in a lot of trouble. They need Dernier in center field, maybe Mumphrey in left or right, perhaps Thad Bosby, as you said. Lack of speed in the outfield may not hurt you as much when you've got small park like this, but you get in the bigger parks and on the artificial surface, your pitching staff will die. But multi-year contracts sometimes dictate what players play rather than the most talented players on the team.
This one is fisted foul. 1-2. Let's clear up this business. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball. Do not reproduce or retransmit it in any form unless you receive the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Jim Fry will turn 55 next month.
And a gentleman in that picture up front was Billy Connors, the pitching coach. Billy, numerous records, charts every pitch. John Vukovic to the right of your screen. He and Billy Williams share hitting and instructing duties.
Full count now to Kennedy with Garvey at first. To reinforce your point about the Cubs, their lack of defense hurting them in some of the artificial surface fields. They were 36-45 away from Wrigley last year. Garvey runs. This one is chopped. Dunston can't beat Garvey to the bag, but gets Kennedy at first. A double play if they hadn't started the runner.
Steve Boras did this yesterday with a slow runner on first base and Garvey at the plate. And right now, by moving a runner, Dunston was over to cover. As you can see on the high hopper, he couldn't get to the in-between hop, so he takes the one. He is a young Gary Templeton. Gary Templeton in his prime had that great running speed and a great throwing arm. Dunston has those same qualities.
McReynolds hit a 3-run homer off Sutcliffe to win it yesterday for the Padres. Strike 1 to him. The Cubs were 41-39 at Wrigley last year, 36-45 away from home. A variety of factors. You mentioned their defense, and of course their offense is tailored for this park as well. They're hurt when they go on the road. 0-2.
Sandy Alomar, the little switch hitter, years back coaching at first base. Of course, Sandy's got 2 sons. Sandy Jr., a catcher playing in the Texas League at Beaumont, a right-handed hitter. And little Roberto, he's an A-ball, a switch-hitting second baseman. They have a chance to be outstanding players someday like their pops.
Harry Dunlop is coaching at third today for the Padres. Jack Kroll attending the graduation of his daughter at East Carolina University.
Congratulations, Sharon.
McReynolds is taken care of on 3 pitches from Eckersley, but the Padres manage a couple on career homer number 1 from John Kruk and lead it after half an inning.
The beard is back. The beard is back. It's back again. I need to get. You better get. Gotta get shit.
When the beard is back, Schick Disposable is always ready for close, clean shaves. Shave after shave.
I need to get. You better get. Gotta get Schick.
In Alamance County, North Carolina, Honda lawnmowers are assembled from the wheels up. Beginning with the Honda overhead valve engine, each precision part is fitted and assembled to exacting tolerances. Then, the final critical step that determines whether a machine will meet the Honda standard. The Clara Johnson test. If Clara pulls and it starts, it's a Honda.
Ship it.
The Honda lawnmower. It's easy to start, or else.
Little sharks and big sharks, shooting from the hip sharks. Night sharks, bright sharks, boogie through the night sharks.
At Sharp, we make everything from portable TVs to hi-fi video cassette recorders.
Sneak sharks, chic sharks, anything you seek sharks.
Sharp VCRs and TVs. From Sharp minds come Sharp products.
State Farm is there when women need life insurance
Whether she brings home a paycheck or works full-time at home, nobody does more for a family than a mother does. That's why so many women talk to State Farm agents about life insurance. We listen, and we help make sure that everything a woman wants to do for her kids gets done. I know how she feels. I have a family, too. Just like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here's the lineup Lamar Hoyt will face. We talked about Eckersley's control. Eckersley pales alongside Hoyt. When he's in a groove, he might be the best control pitcher in baseball, at least among starters. For his career, 1.6 walks per 9 innings pitched. This is his third start and 5th overall appearance for the season. Breaking ball inside third base, and Dunston has extra bases, leading off in the bottom of the first. He has been on fire after a slow start. He couldn't buy a hit in the season's first week, and he's hitting around .350 since then to hike his overall average over 300.
He started the season in the number 8 spot. Dernier wasn't hitting. Dunston has moved to the number 1 slot. He's going to be in scoring position an awful lot of times during his career. He's got the kind of power that he might hit 20 to 25 home runs someday. He already leads the club with just 5.
Hoyt has no record this year. Good ERA and limited duties. 16-8 a year ago. When he gets in a groove, he can be unhittable for long stretches. He's had winning streaks during his career of 9, 11, and 15. Dunston at second, nobody out. Matthews. Slow breaking ball for a strike.
Hoyt changes speeds on his breaking stuff very well. Curve and slider, usually on the black with it. Baseball jargon, they say he paints the corners. Left-handers, he can be especially effective with that backdoor breaking ball of his. Comes around the plate and you give up on it.
0-1 pitch. Another slow curveball, squibbed down toward Garvey. He takes it himself as Dunston moves to third with 1 out.
He wasn't trying to go the opposite way. Popeye, Donnie Zimmer, the former Red Sox great manager. He managed the Padres, Texas Rangers for a while, talking to Dunston how he should watch the defensive alignment. Playing back, you go, caught with Reynolds and Gwynn. Nettles, he's slowed down just like Say with age, but boy, he still has a great glove. Tim Flannery, Gary Templeton out with tender knees coming off the turf. In St. Louis, Roberts, Garvey, and Kennedy.
Padres played 3 in St. Louis before coming in here. That's tough on those chronically arthritic knees of Gary Templeton. He did appear late in the game yesterday, but hasn't started the first 2 of this series. Sandberg's 13-game hitting streak was stopped when he went 0 for 4 yesterday. Ball 1 to him. How good a shortstop is Flannery?
Well, he will catch things that are near him, and that's all that Steve Boros wants. With a control pitcher like Hoyt, it is very easy to play hitters. He will throw the ball where he's expected to, and you can cheat to the right or to the left, up the middle, and so anything near him he'll get.
Nettles is even with the bag at third. The rest of the infield is back. The Padres lead 2-0 in the bottom of the first.
Dunston will be coming at anything at the short, second or first. Third base, that's what Zimmer was warning him about. Nettles will come home. Matthews was not trying to hit the ball on the right side. He got fooled on the breaking ball, but he did have the benefit, team 2 runs down, of moving Dunston to third base with less than 2 outs.
How about the bend on the last curve Hoyt just delivered to Sandberg? Ryan gave up on it, and it got the outside corner. 2-1 pitch. Fastball this time will produce a run. Flannery throws Sandberg out, and Dunston comes across.
Ryan Sandberg is not a sensational-looking player until you see him every day and see him run the bases, catch the ball and throw, steal when he has to, do what he has to with the bat. Jimmy Fry, when he first came over here, helped Sandberg like he did Darryl Strawberry in New York. Said, look, when you get ahead in the count, you get in situations, turn on the ball. Use the wind in this ballpark. He's shown much more power than they thought he ever would.
Wow. Orland with a drive to left that may tie it up. This one is gone. for a moment think 2 runs is a safe cushion against the Cubs, especially at Wrigley. They scored 112 more runs at home than on the road last year. They hit 98 homers here and just 52 on the road.
But to show you what kind of slump they've been in 14 ball games thus far this year, they have scored 3 or less runs. And half those games, of course, are played in Wrigley Field.
There's the story in '85, the friendly confines indeed from the Cubs' perspective. Durham has 4 homers this year. Slow breaking ball, swung on and missed. 1-2 to the Bull. We're tied at 2 in the bottom of the first.
Leon, of course, spent a good deal of time at home with his half-brother, dying tragically. A real blow to the family. He's dedicated this season and the rest of his career to his brother.
They get him at first as Durham reached for the breaking ball, and Garvey was able to make the play to Hoyt covering. But now Hoyt and Eckersley are back on even terms after 1 at Wrigley in Chicago.
Dear, beloved Uncle Dwight. He certainly had a lot of friends.
The Pruitts drove all the way from Alaska.
What?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. I counted license plates from 18 different states.
Hey, Earl, what kind of motor oil do you use?
Motor oil is motor oil.
What?
Motor oil is motor oil.
Oh, yes, he is.
Motor oil definitely is not motor oil. 4-cylinder cars work harder and need specially formulated Valvoline 4-guard. Don't drive your car to an early grave.
You don't give your word, then go back on the deal. You don't shake a man's hand unless that's how you feel. The best way to show you mean what you say is man to man, the American way. Miller's made the American way. Born and brewed in the USA.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
There's a sporty vehicle that offers you so much variety, it fits right in with today's active lifestyles. The tough Ford Bronco 2. It's a hit with the jet set, and the wet set, the trail set, and the sail set, the tow set, the snow set, the angler set, and the wrangler set. Ford Bronco 2, around town or up in the mountains. You know it's built tough.
Get 7.9% financing on new Ford Bronco 2 at your participating Ford dealer now.
The Ring, a 20-by-20 arena where dreams are made and ended. The Ring, where an unknown can instantly become a champion. The Ring, where a lifetime of training is measured in 3-minute rounds. Explore the ring and the men who inhabit it on NBC Ringside.
Another full day of work for that jokester Marv Albert tomorrow, ringside as he works it with the fight doctor Ferdy Pacheco, followed by Sports World and boxing on both editions tomorrow on NBC. We go to the top half of the second, and Dennis Eckersley will face Nettles, Flannery, and Hoyt. Up and into Nettles, who will be 42 in August. With his 2 homers this year, he's passed Ralph Kiner on the all-time list and pulled even with Gil Hodges at 370. Out of play down the left field line.
Marvin Albert does have a nice ring there. Marvin Albert Costas.
How many bogus names does this child have to have? He's got an identity crisis, and he's not yet a day old.
Now, Randy and the baby are doing fine. Kept you up all night, I understand. Got a few hours sleep and took an early flight in.
I'm rejuvenated, both by the child and by a day in the friendly confines. This is a 2-1 pitch. Off-speed pitch, hit hard, and Dunston with a fine play. He caught it on the fly. The throw wasn't necessary. He did it just to be sure.
Ruben Amaro has done a job with this kid. He has asked Sean Dunston, Ruben Amaro has, who is one of the best-looking fielders you'll ever see, to play under control. He said, with your great ability, with that arm and that running speed, just keep your feet on the ground whenever you can. Keep your body balanced. You didn't have to throw it as second base. He popped the hand up, but he had the composure just in case the umpire didn't see it to pop up and try and throw him out. What a play. I think I made the statement last year that the best ball range right and left in baseball belongs to Tony Fernandez. I changed my mind. The best ball range is right out here in the field, Sean Dunston. He's improved. They've used the expression 1,000% since last season when he struggled at times.
Might be just a small overstatement, but he's plenty good. 2-1 to Flannery, who had a homer yesterday, his first of the year and just the 7th of his career. He has the longest tenure of any Padre. In fact, he's the only San Diego player remaining from the 1980 season when Jack McKeon took over as the general manager.
With that wind blowing in from right field, you even saw to Greg Nettles. Eckersley threw him 3 off-speed pitches. He'll do the same maybe to Flannery, although he throws a fastball. You want to hit it? Pull it into the wind. Keep it in the ballpark. You already saw what happened. The ball hit the left center field. John Kruk.
Kruk's was a high fly ball that was helped by the wind. Moreland's homer was more of a line drive and would have made it out under any circumstances. Flannery with the walk, and that will allow Hoyt to sacrifice in this situation.
Walk the 8th place hitter with his great control.
Hoyt takes a look down at Harry Dunlop, but it's pretty obvious what he's going to do. That's the first walk Eckersley has allowed in his last 13 innings of work. Hoyt pops the bunt up, but look where it lands. Can Durham get back to cover?
Oh.
No.
What a break.
They have to rule it a hit.
Yeah, Eckersley did just what he wanted to do. Throw a fastball up in the strike zone, ride a fastball, get a pop-up. Everybody overcharged. And I don't mean that as a knock. You want to charge and get the lead runner. Eckersley runs it up in. He gets a pop-up. It falls. Nobody nearby. Sandberg thought he could make a play. He had to make a decision. Ryan Sandberg to go to first base or get the ball. He made the decision to get the ball, and nobody was at first.
So now Bip Roberts, who slapped an infield single by Say to open the game and then rode home on Kruk's homer. Eckersley spears it to second for 1. Double play.
Make him a pitcher if you can. Dunston has got some kind of shotgun. Wow.
Boy, that was a bazooka shot he fired off that pivot.
The right parts. Mr. Goodwrench has the right parts for your GM car. Parts that fit. Parts engineered for your car by people who designed your car. Parts for every make and every model of virtually every GM car and light truck on the road today. Mr. Goodwrench can help you keep that great GM feeling with genuine GM parts, because no one knows your GM car better. No one.
For every man who wears Brute deodorant, there's a woman who will always be glad that he did. Because a man who wears Brute deodorant is nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman. Only Brute deodorant gives you long-lasting protection with the great smell of Brute.
Hello.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Great.
Every bottle of Miller comes with a clear promise.
Miller's made the American way.
A promise that Miller beer has been brewed naturally.
Born and brewed in the USA.
And above all, a promise of purity. A promise that Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Mildred Taylor. Harold Brazier. Taylor battles Brazier live on NBC Sports World. Sunday.
Before and after versions of Lamar Hoyt in 1983 when he won the Cy Young Award while pitching for the division-winning White Sox. 24-10 that season and just about untouchable from the All-Star break on. And he's at least 40 pounds lighter now. And the beard is gone as well.
White came out in the papers today here in Chicago saying he still can't understand the trade that was made, sending him over the Padres. So just a A year or so after he won a Cy Young Award. Of course, Ozzie Guillen is not a bad player. Raleigh Heeman engineered that deal. He is now with the commissioner's office, Raleigh Heeman.
Hoyt said he was happy to be back in Chicago, feel that cool, crisp air. He likes to work under these circumstances. Say has swung the bat a bit better this past week, finding his power stroke. Hit a home run yesterday. But he is 38 with 2 years left on a very lucrative contract, and it's a major problem for Dallas Green and the Cubs. Another big bender for a called strike.
Haven't been told this by anybody, but I get the feeling, what you read and what you hear, that Jimmy Fry would just love to play Keith Moreland at third base.
Into center field, and McReynolds won't get there as it drops softly in front of him for a leadoff single. McReynolds was playing very deep, had no chance.
Ron Say now, nearing the end of his career, what has happened to him and Gary Matthews, when the wind is blowing into this ballpark, they are not as effective power hitters. They are more guys now for Wrigley Field. When that summer breeze comes from the south, they can reach those walls a little bit more. He missed a couple of games. You can see his right hand taped, hit by a pitch ball.
The problems of every team in the National League East are given more urgency by the tremendous start of the Mets. 19-4, winners of 17 of their last 18. The Cubs are already 10 back. There goes Say. What a surprise. Davis fouled it off.
Out of a double play. That's what Jimmy Fry has had to do. You've got Hoyt who can sink the fastball, get you a ground ball, and to try and create a hole, Jimmy Fry surprisingly starts Ron Say. Jody Davis trying to shoot that ball between Bip Roberts, second baseman, and Steve Garvey.
No score in the second. Darling against Gullickson in that one at Shea. Dodgers with the first inning lead at Montreal. What a game Hubie Brooks had yesterday. Double, triple, and home run for the Expos. Here's the 0-1 to Davis. Say not going this time. A ball and a strike.
And about the East, Pat, how would you like to be the Montreal Expos? You win 6 in a row and you don't gain any ground, as the Mets are winning 6. I really believe if the Mets stay healthy with that pitching staff, if Carter stayed healthy, all else, that they could set a record for wins, the 162-game schedule.
The record for wins over 162, surprisingly, is less than the 154-game record. Fastball fouled back, 1-2. The Yankees won 109. You were with that team in 1961, Tony. And Earl Weaver's Orioles equaled it in 1969. The modern record for wins in a 154-game season, the Indians in 1954, an astonishing 111-43, then lost the World Series in 4 straight to the Giants. You go back to the Cubs of 1906, they won 116 games. The 1-2 to Davis. Whoa, he tied him in knots as that one just fluttered past him.
Show you the great arm and body motion that Hoyt has. It was not what you would call a good pitch, an off-speed pitch. It was up in the strike zone. Didn't want to throw it there, but he had Jody Davis completely fooled. It looked like a slip pitch. It wasn't quite a pound ball. I didn't see all 4 fingers fly off it, but it had the action of a pound ball.
Here's the veteran, Jerry Mumphrey. He was with the Padres at one time, also the Cardinals, Yankees, and Astros. Came over in a deal with Houston that sent the young outfielder Billy Hatcher there. 0-1 to him. Mumphrey throughout his career, both in the American League when he was with the Yankees and Hoyt was with the White Sox, and now in the National League, has hit Lamar Hoyt well. .419 for his career against Hoyt on 13 for 31. Say at first with 1 out.
I think if Jerry Mumphrey in this ballpark got 300 at bats here, he might hit some home runs. He's become a much stronger in his upper body, some off-season weight training, but I don't think he's a center fielder.
He was a whippet when he came up with the Cardinals. Another one like that is Templeton. Very lean when he came up with St. Louis, and now a much more sturdy figure with the Padres. And not the player he once was because of the terrible knee injuries which have blighted what could have become a Hall of Fame career. 1-2 pitch.
Garvey playing behind Say.
Fastball hit in the air to center. McReynolds coming on. Waves Kruk off and takes it.
Kevin McReynolds, you had those problems with former manager Dick Williams. His agent wanted him traded. He's had some knee problems also, and I think Steve Boros probably a little more patient than Dick Williams. He's just saying to Kevin McReynolds, you stay out there, and I'm going to give you all the time you need to get your bat in gear, get your roam center field. Steve Boros, he's such a great mind in this game and such a thinker. Also great on base stealing. He helped Willie Wilson that first year when he coached for Whitey Herzog at Kansas City.
Boros was the first base coach for the White Rat in the 70s at KC. Look at Eckersley. This one is on its way. This one is gone. Get me out of that American League. Ditch that designated hitter. And hello to the bleacher bums. Second homer of Eckersley's career. And after trailing 2-0, he's on top of Hoyt and the Padres 4-2.
It's not just the park and the wind, folks. It's the ball. It is flying. Do you think since Baby Doc left Haiti, they're sewing it even tighter than they once did?
Well, now you've got me into an area of commentary on world affairs that may be outside my ken.
Their hands sewn in Haiti. Duvalier is no longer there.
The fastball is hit in the air to right center field. McReynolds drops the shades, but not the ball. We've had 3 homers already. Each of them a 2-run shot. Kruk for the Padres. And Moreland and Eckersley for the Cubs.
Monday, I'll be there. And so will Don Johnson, Michael J. Fox, and the greatest collection of stars we've ever assembled. NBC's 60th anniversary. Monday. I ain't gonna forget this.
Hi, my name is Fred. Why are you hitchhiking?
Well, Fred, I'm recently divorced. My credit is terminal, and the bank repossessed my car. I'll lose my job if I can't get to the hospital. Is there anything you can do to help?
No problem. Did you hear that? If I can finance her, and I will, I can finance you.
GMF Motors on the corner of Boulder Highway and Sahara. Call 641-0001.
You can get the winning edge at the world's most modern racing sportsbook, Circus Circus. View your favorite sports on our giant screen TV or on 19 monitors. Enjoy tasty sandwiches from the deli while watching live televised horse and greyhound racing from all major tracks. Trifecta wagering, full track odds, and increased payoff limits on exotic wagering tells the competition we're not clowning around. Circus Circus Racing Sportsbook in the Skyrise Tower, already the odds-on favorite.
I'm Ed Bernstein. If you've been injured in an accident, it's important that you call an attorney as soon as possible. Witnesses can disappear, physical evidence can be lost, and most importantly, if you wait too long, the statute of limitations may prevent you from recovering any money damages at all. The faster you call, the faster your rights can be protected. Call us for a free consultation.
Edward M. Bernstein and Associates, personal injury attorneys. Tip the scale of justice your way.
Turn to 3 for the Rockford Files tonight at 7.
So antisocial is Tony Kubek that he is now demanded to work in separate booths. You blew it. You know?
Looks like a plexiglass.
You know, I set up a simple routine for you, and you blow the whole gig.
Oh, well. You had a long night last night. I got to bed early until I ran into Harry Carey last night down at the restaurant.
Harry dining on health foods, no doubt. Eckersley has given himself a 4-2 lead. Here's the guy who hurt him in the first. Playing only because Marvell Wynn couldn't get to the ballpark on time. If you're just joining us, Wynn's wife had a baby on Thursday. He went to Pittsburgh to visit her. They were waiting for him to get here from the airport. Didn't make it for the start, and Kruk was penciled in at the last second.
I think Marvell ended up coming to the ballpark, showing up in the dugout, about the middle of the second inning, as everybody flocked down to one end, and they were all congratulating him
for being tardy. Bruck made the team by hitting .451 in spring training. Steve Burrows couldn't ignore it.
R.A.K. on the left sleeve, of course, for the late Ray Kroc. Joe Kroc, along with Ballard Smith, now running the ball club. Jack McKeon, the general manager, he's engineered a whole lot of trades. I think he's moved about 100 players from his ball club since he came here.
Here's Dunston. He didn't have to unload that time. For him, that was just an easy toss.
He is improving his quickness. He was one of the most sought-after amateur players in the game out of Brooklyn. Toronto Blue Jays wanted him badly. Dallas Green and the Cubs got him. And if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to throw some numbers on the board, folks.
In fact, Dunston was the first selection in the amateur draft the year Dwight Gooden was eligible. In fact, 4 players were taken ahead of Gooden. He was the 5th selection when the Mets' turn came up. Dunston was the first player taken by the Cubs, and generally was regarded as the best young player in the land. Sandberg couldn't get that one. A base hit for Gwynn, who had been robbed by Eckersley in the first inning.
Eckersley now appears to have gotten the ball down in the strike zone. Getting more ground balls, sinking the fastball a little bit, changing speeds better, gotten into a little bit of a rhythm. The dirt surface of this field appears to be a little hard. It's in front of the home plate area. If it hits the grass, it slows down considerably.
Another chorus of boos for Garvey. These fans should know the Cubs are not the only team Garvey has punished in postseason play.
See if they pitch out. Garvey will hit and run a lot. He'll hit and run 25, 30 times a year. He'll drop a bunt down 20, 25 times a year.
Want to talk about your showcase guys? Rhett, Jackson, people like that rank in that category. Inside to Garvey. Steve is a .356 career hitter in LCS play with 8 homers. In World Series play, he's lifetime .319. And in the All-Star game, .393.
We may see some movement on the bases. Nope. Ed Montague behind the plate today. Get a chance to look at Lee Wire, Dutch Renner, Fred Brocklander. We'll pass the message to the clubhouse man who takes care of the umpires. Jimmy Farrell and his wife Eleanor celebrating their 42nd anniversary today.
Gwynn at first with 1 out, and the 1-1 pitch from Eckersley to Garvey. Ahead of him 1-2. Garvey at age 37 has another consecutive game streak going. This is his 200th without a miss. The streak of 1,207 interrupted back in '83, stopped in '83 by a broken thumb. Out of play. That 1,207 consecutive game streak is the National League record. 2 American leaguers have outdistanced it. Everett Scott and, of course, Lou Gehrig with the all-time record of 2130.
Until 2 strikes, even down by 2, I thought sure we'd see some movement on the bases. Garvey will, especially with a guy like Eckersley who can get the ball down. Garvey hits the low pitch well. I'm talking about the low pitch at the knees or lower that he might go after and ground into a double play.
1-2 pitch with Gwynn running, and he'll have to come back. The Ironman record in the National League that Garvey broke belonged, of course, to a favorite here, Billy Williams, back in a Cub uniform as one of Jim Fry's coaches now.
Willie McCovey will go into the Baseball's Hall of Fame this year. And I think one of the first statements Willie McCovey made was, what happened to that guy from the Cubs who didn't get in, and why not? Billy Williams. It's just hard for me to believe. Billy Williams is still sitting there on the outside looking in.
Coming in is Say. And he throws his former teammate Garvey out. Wynn in scoring position now with 2 down.
Nice play by El Penguino, as Fernando Valenzuela calls him. Times the hop. Slow runner and Garvey moving down, so he gets him relatively easy. He's got very sure hands, Ron Say. And he's got a very true throwing arm. It's the balls he has difficulty getting to anymore.
Terry Kennedy now with a chance to draw the Padres closer. And this one might drop in. A little blooper. Dunston can't get it. Off his glove. Wynn scores. It's 4-3.
Bob, I believe the sun bothered Dunston just a little bit. He did make a great effort to get it, but I think when he looked up, he looked into the sun and perhaps couldn't run all out right from the get-go. Eckersley jams Kennedy, gets the pitch in on his fist. Sean makes an outstanding play as it goes off the thumb of his glove.
Now McReynolds, who struck out on 3 pitches in the first. Ball 1 to him.
I'd like to be Sean Dunston's agent. What kind of bucks that are floating around now. What kind of money he's going to make someday. Woo. Richie Bree represents him. Leon Durham, I believe. Several others on this Cub.
In Eckersley and Hoyt, we have 2 pitchers who will show you varying angles of delivery. Eckersley dropped down to the side that time to get the called strike on McReynolds. Whoa! Moves him away. I think this lack of sleep renders me hyper. I'm jumpy up here in the booth. The 2-1. This one is well hit down the line in left, and it will bounce against the ivy. Kennedy doesn't run well, and even with 2 out, they've got to stop him at third. So a double for McReynolds.
Padres down by a run. That's part of the reason Dunlap held him up, but a bigger part is Sean Dunston's arm. He was the relay man from Gary Matthews out in short left field. The word has already gotten around on the Dunston speed and that great throwing arm. He's going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger over the next few years, and he'll hit the ball a little bit harder. He is still learning how to play the game, Sean Dunston. Pretty much his first few years in the minor leagues. Last year he came up on raw talent. Now he's smoothing out his play.
Nettles reaches for it and rolls weakly to Sandberg, who hasn't made an error all year. The Padres leave the potential tying and go-ahead runs in scoring position and settle for 1 in the third.
Here comes the car that has outsold every car in the world 4 years running. You probably know what it is. It's Ford Escort. Ford Escort. World's best-selling car 4 years running.
Get 6.9% financing at your participating Ford dealer now.
When it comes time to sell your home, consider this. Only one real estate sales organization sells more homes, finds more homes, and delivers more successful transactions every day than anyone else in the world. No one's got the power to move real estate like Century 21.
Presenting 5 incredible things you can do with a new John Deere lawn tractor. You can cut grass more evenly with our new mowing deck. You can get rid of rainwater with our new tip seat. And ride more quietly because we've enclosed the engine. You can even carry heavier loads because we've added more horsepower. But the most incredible thing you can do with a new John Deere tractor is take one home because we've lowered the price. Isn't that incredible?
An American tradition continues with an old-fashioned doubleheader. Next Saturday, the world champion Kansas City Royals meet the Chicago White Sox. Then, the New York Mets take on the National League West champion Dodgers. Plus regional action. Check local listings. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
Tony and I will be at Tiger Stadium next Saturday. Some of you will see the Royals and White Sox in the first half of the doubleheader. Then Vin and Joe from Dodger Stadium, the Mets and the Dodgers. No question that right now the Mets are the best team in baseball. They're doing everything well. Matthews fouls Hoyt's pitch off to open the bottom of the third. Yesterday, for example, the Mets got excellent pitching from Ojeda, who is now 6-0. What an addition to an already outstanding staff. And great defensive work to preserve the 2-1 lead. Lenny Dykstra robbing Dave Parker of a home run in the late innings. Mario Soto finally pitched a good game for Cincinnati, and nothing's working for the Reds. They don't give him any support, and he loses 2-1.
Well, when you're looking at a man who is considered going in your 5th starter, Bob Ojeda, and he strikes out 10, that's a pretty potent starting staff, isn't it?
Matthews has seen a variety of breaking balls at a variety of speeds from Hoyt.
When you say the Mets have the best team in baseball, you're basing that on mostly on their pitching staff, I guess.
They don't have a lineup, top to bottom, as good as a couple of other teams, although it's plenty good, but the whole package. Their team defense right now has been great. Their starting pitching. Fisted into center field, and Bip Roberts goes back to grab it.
Bip, bip, hooray. That's what they chant in San Diego when he does something like this.
It's quite an inventive little cheer.
Did you stand next to him today? You finally have found a guy that you can look down to. And if you arm wrestle this kid, I think I might put my money on you. It'll be the first time ever.
Just to complete that thought about the Mets, you've got to say that their starting pitching is as deep as any team in baseball, with the possible exception of the Royals, but they're right there with them. And of course, they've got Gooden at the head of it.
Dodgers staff isn't bad, to say the least. See the line on Valenzuela yesterday? Wow.
Sandberg with a shot, and Nettles got him with the help of a Garvey pickup at first base.
Well,
not as great as he once was, but as you said, Tony, still pretty good.
You can take the arm away from the old veteran and the leg, but you can never take those tremendous reflexes that a third baseman like Nettles has. He positioned so well, playing well off the line. He got the call from Flannery, his shortstop, that it was an off-speed pitch, a verbal signal, and he was moving to his right before the ball left the bat. If he still wears on his glove to humble him, as he says, E5. First thing he does with a new glove. That's what Nettles puts on it.
Moreland tied the game in the first inning with a 2-run homer. Cubs lead it now 4-3. That E5 was an infamous headline on the back page of the New York Post, tabloid newspaper, after Nettles had a tough day late in his tenure with the Yankees. With that sweeping curveball for a called strike 2.
One of the best hitters in the game right here, Keith Moreland. If he had running speed, you'd be talking about Moreland as a superstar. He throws very well. He catches everything that he can get to. And I don't know if there's a Cub that you'd rather have up, including Sandberg and Durham and the rest, with the game on the line late in the ball game.
Although Hoyt has not pitched tremendously well, all things considered today, with the Cubs having scored 4 runs, there are times when he can make hitters look awfully foolish.
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. No matter what you drive, or how you drive, or where you drive, or what conditions you drive under. With Mobil synthetic oil technology, there's no finer engine protection anywhere. Now save up to $3 on Mobil motor oils and get a chance to win a Corvette or one of 1,000 other prizes.
It's brewed in America and in other great beer-drinking countries. It's the only beer that must, by license and authority, always use Bavarian hops for flavor. And be sent back to Munich to be tested by German brewmasters, tested for taste and quality. It's Lowenbrau. And that's how you get 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
This world calls for Lowenbrau right now.
Men, we're going to live off the land.
It's going to be rough. Either you pitch in or shape up.
When you're far from home, you can't beat a Honda portable generator. You get 1,000 watts of power when you're nowhere near an electrical outlet.
Commander Fred, can we come in?
Hold it, men!
The Honda portable generators for camping, hunting, boating, even charging your car battery.
I'll be right out.
Sunday, an all-new world movie premiere. Nobody knows him. Nobody owns him. Now he's back on a mission of mercy. Code of Vengeance 2, Sunday.
A pair of new skippers have their teams flying high early. Roger Craig has just about everybody throwing the split-fingered fastball with the surprising Giants. And Hal Lanier has the Astros 6 over 500, and I see he is not afraid to lay the law down. He had the clubhouse television yanked at the Astrodome after a few players missed infield drills. Why? They were watching the Wheel of Fortune. Evidently, Mr. Lanier, not a fan of Pat Sajak and Vanna White. He banished the tube.
You know, I think the San Diego Padres team has a legitimate shot. Does not appear with Pedro Guerrero out. No one knows for sure how long. A few months, whole year, maybe career. You don't know with that radical knee surgery. I think the Padres with this pitching staff and a little more offensive help, and they're trying to inject some speed into the lineup. I think they've got a legitimate shot in the West. Nobody looks like they can run away with it.
1-2 to Flannery, who walked in the second inning.
Both Eckersley and Hoyt have to, on occasion, move hitters off the plate so they can go back outside. A high total for Dennis Eckersley to this point.
2-2 to Flannery. Eckersley was a sensation as a young pitcher. In his early 20s with the Indians, he had a winning percentage better than .600 in Cleveland from the mid to late 70s, and this was for an Indian team that was not a contender, obviously. They check at third base, and Flannery did not go, so the count is full to him. Then after Eckersley moved on to the Red Sox, his first year pitching for Don Zimmer there, he was a 20-game winner. His performance had fallen off toward the end of his tenure with the Red Sox, and finally in '84 they traded him here for Bill Buckner. Fair ball, and Durham takes it himself.
Eckersley had some elbow problems along the way, some lower back problems. In fact, Chicago fans don't have to tell you that this whole staff was decimated last year, from Sutcliffe, from Trout, from Sanderson, from Eckersley. They had a lot of AA and AAA pitchers pitching for, it seemed like a big part of the season for the Cubs.
Threw that one right by Hoyt. At one time, Eckersley had a fastball in the 90-plus mile-per-hour range. When that deserted him in Boston after he'd been there several years, he reached a point where he was terribly ineffective. He couldn't get anybody out. And with a change of approach, he has been rejuvenated in Chicago.
He's had to go from a sheer power pitcher to a finesser. He just throws an off-speed pitch to the pitcher, Hoyt. He still, once he sets you up with the change of speed and the change up off the breaking ball, still can zip fastballs by you, but he's pretty much got to spot it now. Get a little more hair on that one.
As you could tell from that turn at the plate, Hoyt is not one of the better hitting pitchers. A reminder again, we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the contest. We've had 3 homers hit so far, so some candidates have sprung up early.
They shorten up considerably at third base and in left field. Gary Matthews. Look at Say at third, Dunston. Less than halfway for the speed of Roberts.
We're in the top of the 4th. Cubs lead the Padres 4-3. Dunston to his left and can't get it. So Roberts is now 2 for 3 after going 3 for 4 yesterday.
He had some nice stolen base totals. Now, Sandy Alomar telling him to watch the outfielders where they position. And they get his head in the game. 1-0. Mets in the fourth. Cincinnati is suffering. Los Angeles 2, Montreal 1 in the third. No score. Cleveland with 48,000 plus at the ballgame last night. How about owner Marge Schott of Cincinnati? All else is going wrong. Pete Rose's team, she gets hit by a line drive. Just missed her face. Had to leave for medical help off the bat of Ozzie Virgil.
There goes Roberts, swing and a miss by Kruk, and Davis's throw. We got him twice yesterday, and he sends him into a helmet-throwing snit today. We'll be back.
This world calls for good times.
From London
This world calls for sharing them now.
to Stockholm
This world calls
to
for
Tokyo. Lowenbrau, the only beer brewed in the great beer-drinking countries.
Brewed in Munich.
Brewed in England. Sweden.
Canada.
Japan.
And here in America.
For 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
Test pilot Chuck Yeager for AC Delco.
Up here, power when you need it can save your neck. When you get back down to your car, it helps too. Today's smaller engines need extra firepower from a spark plug, and AC delivers. If you could look inside your engine, you'd see an AC spark plug delivering up to 30,000 volts, firing 30 times a second. Firepower when you need it from AC.
Get rebates now on AC spark plugs.
Never wait for trouble.
We didn't know where to turn. When you've lost everything, you don't know what to do.
When a tornado wiped out the home of Marv and Marion Kammerlander, their Allstate home replacement cost guarantee paid to completely rebuild it.
Leave it to the good hands, people.
Little over 3 months after we had been totally destroyed by the tornado, we moved back into our new home.
And I guess that really proves you're in good hands with Allstate. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
The Ring, a 20-by-20 arena where dreams are made and ended. The Ring, where an unknown can instantly become a champion. The Ring, where a lifetime of training is measured in 3-minute rounds. Explore the ring and the men who inhabit it on NBC Ringside.
Jody Davis has nailed 16 of 31 trying to steal this year.
When Jimmy Fry put his coaching staff together, he wanted some people, especially Johnny Oates, because he had been with successful organizations like Baltimore, the Yankees, Dodgers, the Phillies, winning organizations. And he worked with Jody Davis very hard. Speed up his release. You saw it in that last one. Also, Eckersley sped up his release to home plate, giving Jody Davis a little bit of a chance to throw out Roberts.
To the bottom of the fourth, and Leon Durham with a drive to deep right. Gwynn turns and takes it on the warning track.
Wrong win. This park and Fenway Park, the wind factors affect the outcome of the game. So, wind blowing in from right field, it's helped one ball get out of this park and left. It's killed Leon Durham's chance for a home run. It wasn't hit well, but even that, he might have muscled it out on some days in the summertime. It is a beautiful park. Those vines down the line and around the ballpark. The late Bill Veck helped plant those as a kid, helped build a scoreboard. Center field.
Say drills one foul. 2 of the 5 third basemen in the game's history with better than 300 home runs are in the game today. Nettles and Say, the Penguin, just passed that plateau this season. The others, former Cub Ron Santo, Eddie Matthews, and Mike Schmidt.
You know, Ron Santo, a guy that has credentials, batting average with his glove that you should. He'll get consideration for the Hall of Fame someday. I hope he doesn't have to wait for the Veterans Committee to do it. Late Ken Boyer.
There's that curveball again.
He has so much of Catfish Hunter in him, doesn't he? Lamar Hoyt. He's on the black. He just changes speeds, not just a change-up and a fastball. A little switch you can tune in and out. Variable speed switch.
Say may have gotten this one. It is against the ivy. A play at second. He beat it.
keep saying he still has enough ability that they shouldn't retire him too soon. A hanging slider.
And the distinctive penguin gait on his way to second.
Looked like it was going to be a stand-up double, but it was a little closer than it would have been a few years ago for Ron. So Ronnie's 2 for 2 in the ballgame.
Up comes Davis, who struck out in the second.
They were talking 65 pitches. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach for the Padres. And I said, well, you go according to how Lamar Hoyt feels. And no, we're just going to keep him at about 65, and that's it, no matter what score of the game. But we'll see. Hoyt may come in and argue that. So, yeah, I still feel good. I like to push myself a little bit. But it's like spring training for him. Hoyt, of course, involved in incident crossing the Mexican border, I believe, where they found some marijuana, Valium, I believe, a switchblade knife. Went to rehab. They said he was an alcoholic. He says, I am not an alcoholic. Wow.
Look out in the bleachers. Here comes another souvenir.
Over him.
Forget about it. The bleachers aren't eligible. They'll pick it up on Waveland. It's the 4th homer of this game, and 3 of them belong to Chicago.
This is a legitimate home run. Down near the knees. Now we've got some action. Looks like Tim Stoddard.
It's 6-3 Cubs as Mumphrey takes a strike.
Here in Fenway Park, maybe the 2 toughest parks to manage a pitching staff. You've got to figure in this ballpark, you're going to give up about 1 more run per ball game. You hope you'll score at least 1 more run per game. I think the same is true of Fenway with that left field wall. Perhaps you could include Seattle, the Kingdome, and Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, and maybe Atlanta. The ball flies out of there.
They have tattooed Hoyt in this inning. Durham sent Gwynn to the warning track in right to open the inning to catch his fly. Then Say doubled off the ivy in left, and Davis put one on Waveland Avenue.
So Davis didn't look to be that bad. It was near the middle of the plate. Sure, Hoyt would like to have had an outer edge of the plate more, but it was down.
Mumphrey skies one to center. McReynolds almost in his tracks. 2 out. Here comes Eckersley, but that's by no means an oasis of safety for Hoyt. Here's what happened in Eck's last at bat.
You can bet if Eckersley picks up a win in this, and we've got a ways to go yet, he will want to talk much more about hitting one of the bleacher bums than his pitching.
Respects him. Starts him with a curveball, but it's ball 1. Fastball line, but it's in there. I thought for a moment Flannery was going to have a chance to get it. It was hit more softly than I had first suspected, and Flannery scooted over there but couldn't quite get it. So Eckersley is 2 for 2 as we check with New York.
All right, Bob, at Shea Stadium, the Mets have broken the scoreless tie against Cincinnati on this home run by George Foster, his 2nd home run of the year. The Mets have hit for the cycle today. 4 hits, a single, double, triple, now a home run. It's 1-0 Mets, and by the way, congratulations, Robert.
Thank you, Bill, and at least Mr. McAtee doesn't add to the confusion by making up a name of his own for the child. Curveball, strike 1 to Dunston.
Kirby Puckett going to be very disappointed in you.
I'll give you my thinking on that in the next inning.
Sean Dunston not only has settled down a wee bit defensively, but he'll still swing at some bad pitches, some breaking balls that'll bounce. Each game he seems to get a little bit more disciplined.
Shallow left center. Everybody coming in, and it's Bruck who cuts in front of McReynolds to take it.
Flannery never saw that ball. He put his arms out and said, I can't find it.
Two more come home on the homer by Davis. Back after this from your local station.
Sunday when Dad promotes Kate.
Me? President.
Who'll run the household? Then is Punky really gone punk?
Communication, Henry. This is our new look.
Papa. You know, I used to be a drummer for Artie Lebanowski.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's our roll.
Oh, that's cute.
More coffee?
Oh, thank you.
Say, didn't you used to play with Artie Lebanowski?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Jerry's Nuggets, steak and lobster.
Daddy!
Please, stop. Nothing is going to ruin this wedding. So if it takes all night, I personally will drive each of you home in my car. My Subaru.
Drive a Subaru with on-demand four-wheel drive, and don't let the weather spoil a good time.
Available at Findlay Subaru, 3112 East Fremont.
You in a heap of trouble, boy. Don't you know you can't land a plane in a parking lot?
But Sheriff, I...
Don't but me, boy. What are you hauling in there?
Well, I get the freshest fish anywhere.
Open it.
You see, Sheriff, at Fisherman's Broiler, they demand only the freshest fish. And the way they cook it keeps that fresh flavor in right up until you sink your teeth into it.
Next time you bring a load in here, you notify the proper authorities, you hear? So I can be the first in line.
Turn to 3 for Jeopardy, weeknights at 7:30.
As we noted at the beginning, how things can change in just a year and a half. In fairness, most of the names you see here were reserves for the Cubs. The most significant change, Larry Boa gone and Sean Dunston in as the starting shortstop. Dick Ruthman was released just this week. Veteran pitcher, and they owe him plenty of money after letting him go. Now on the San Diego side, there have been some more significant changes, and we'll look at that in a minute. Jim Fry. At times this year, he has been the embattled manager of the Cubs. It's been true on both the south and north side of Chicago. La Russa, his job hanging in the balance the past couple of weeks with the White Sox. Now apparently he has a firm grasp on it, and everybody knows that Dallas Green will not settle for the Cubs being out of contention very long.
Jimmy Fry and Dallas Green had 10 players 35 or older when they were in spring training in Arizona, and they've gotten rid of a couple. Old expressed in baseball, you don't want your team to get old all at the same time. Trying to avoid that, but I don't know how much talent is in the Cubs organization, minor leagues. Dallas Green has not been around that long to revitalize the system, just 4 years, but he will. He's an outstanding evaluator of talent. He went out and got Ryan Sandberg, didn't he? The Phillies and others.
Of course, both these teams experiencing the great expectations syndrome. If you do well, as each of these teams did in '84, it's not good enough to finish 6-7 games over 500 the next year and do a reasonably good job.
Rick Sutcliffe, Charlie Fox scouted him. Sutcliffe, who had that powerful year 2 seasons ago, the trade.
Although Sutcliffe is only 1-5 this year, and we're not trying to say he's pitched as well as he's capable of pitching. He'd be the first to tell you that. But he hasn't pitched as badly as you'd think a guy would have with a record of 1-5. He has had some games where he's come out as the loser, 2-1, or left the game and the relievers have blown it for him. Bruck strikes out and Davis throws to Durham to make it official. Now let's look at those Padre changes since '84. Alan Wiggins now with Baltimore, and Bip Roberts trying to become his replacement at second base. And there you see the others who have left, and just as significantly, Steve Boros in as the manager and Dick Williams out. Williams began as the new skipper of the Seattle Mariners last night. Seattle won for him. Wynn wraps one at Sandberg. 2 out. They say that Williams has trouble getting along with players. For the time being, he has to love Alvin Davis, who greeted him with 2 homers and 8 RBIs in his Seattle debut.
with that Oakland ball club. Looked like he was going to stay there for a long time, but managers these days especially do not stay in the comfort zone at all. They don't get a breather. Look at Tony La Russa. Hats off to Tom Seaver, I think, saying that he was badly mishandled by the front office of the White Sox. I don't think either Reinsdorf, Hawk Harrelson were trying to be mean-spirited, but boy, there was a lot flying around with La Russa dangling and bleeding open.
La Russa got a vote of confidence. Maybe he deserved the Purple Heart. 0-1 pitch. 0-2 to Garvey.
Eckersley knew he got away with one right there. He tried to put a little bit, probably get it up and in off the plate, and Garvey get his arms extended. He was just underneath.
Count holds 0-2. You mentioned that Boros had managed at Oakland. The A's were 4th under Boros in 1983 in the American League West, 74 and 88, and then they fired him before the midway point of the second season, 1984. The Mets extend their lead to 2-0 in the 5th. A drive to right center field. Moreland over.
Long wind again for Steve Garvey. Summer breeze might have pushed that up.
The Padres go in order in the 5th. Eckersley and company with the lead at 6-3.
Ford has wagons like these, designed to move you like never before.
I've always been afraid of two things, flying and good cameras. But with this Canon T70, I'm not afraid. This push-button T70 is so easy to use, I can even get to tough shots, like backlit shots. Stop! Take action shots! Bang! I can even use a zoom! Boom!
The Canon T70, so advanced it makes a tough shot simple.
I'm fearless now! Ooh!
Enter the Canon photo contest and win an adventure trip on the Salmon River. Details at Canon dealers.
This world calls for good times. This world calls for sharing them now. This night calls for, these friends call for, this world calls for
Lowenbrau, the only beer brewed in the great beer drinking countries. Brewed in Munich, brewed in England, Sweden, Canada, Japan, and here in America. For 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
This world calls for Lowenbrau right now.
To Peerless Faucet, durability means solid brass, resilient copper, and stainless steel construction. It also means if you install your Peerless washerless faucet today, it will not only still be working in the year 2001, it will still be under warranty. Peerless do-it-yourself faucets. Install in no time and last a long time.
If you follow the Cubs, Harry Carey and company on WGN over your cable system around the country, you know those flags atop the scoreboard are arranged according to the standings in the National League East and West. We've got a new pitcher. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, it's the former Cub Tim Stoddard facing Matthews. A ball and a strike to Gary.
Stoddard with a slider, throws fairly hard. His control can leave him at times. We've got a few hard throwers down in that bullpen. Gossage is not what he once was, but Colors, although he may not be as intimidating as Gossage, but he throws harder. Left-hander Walters with that good slider. I think the depth of this staff, if Hoyt keeps coming along, will keep him in this thing.
So Hoyt was touched for 6 runs, 3 homers, and some other balls hit extremely well. He had some moments where he made hitters look bad with his breaking stuff, but it's not all together for him yet. The 3-1 pitch to Matthews.
A he felt if Hoyt threw his normal number of pitches, he would have gotten him a strong 5. He threw more than the normal amount for him. Pretty crisp fastball right there.
Right through the heart of the strike zone, but he threw it by Matthews. Here's Sandberg, who got an RBI when he grounded to Flannery in the first, and then was robbed of a hit on a fine play by Nettles in the third. No one's going to get this one, and Sandberg has his first hit of the day. Sandberg, pictured on the cover of the Cubs media guide this year, along with other great second basemen of Cubby history: Johnny Evers, Billy Herman, Ken Hubbs, Glenn Beckert.
So his numbers in 84. I mean, they weren't bad in 85, hitting 305, but 84, 19 triples, 36 doubles, 200 hits, 114 runs scored. Drove in 84. Ooh.
And that MVP season included the game neither of us will ever forget against the Cardinals here. The 2 dramatic game-tying homers off Bruce Sutter, 5 hits in the game, and the Cubs won it 12-11 in 11 innings. And people around baseball still refer to that as the Sandberg game.
Willie McGee didn't have a bad day that day also.
He hit for the cycle.
overshadowed.
Yeah, hit for the cycle, and everybody forgot about it. The movie The Natural had just been released a couple of weeks before that performance by Sandberg, and people went around for weeks afterwards saying that Sandberg must be the real Roy Hobbs. His performance that day was something of mythic quality.
Oakland A's guide has Jose Canseco.
There he goes.
The Natural.
The throw from Kennedy. Stolen base, Sandberg.
There isn't anything that Ryne Sandberg can't do. And of course, he's going to hit a few more home runs in this ballpark because of the dimensions. Not a very good pitch for Terry Kennedy to throw on. Breaking ball in the dirt. Terry Kennedy has been knocked during his career for... He has a pretty strong throwing arm. But he's a big guy, and he can't get out of the crouch quite as fast as a Gary Carter. Jody Davis was the same way until Johnny Oates got hold of him.
Sandberg is at second with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Cubs already lead at 6-3. Moreland has homered and struck out. Left center field and Kruk.
Tacking up at second.
Justy bluffs, however, as we go to New York and check again with Bill McAtee.
All right, Bob, the Mets have taken a 2-0 lead on Cincinnati. Now Keith Hernandez, who's been red hot, drills a single to right through the infield. That scores Kevin Mitchell, who had doubled. Hernandez 2 for 3 today, and it's now 2-0 Mets out at Shea. Back to Chicago.
Keith Hernandez has to be around 340 now, and we listed all the virtues of that Met ball club. One we didn't have time to mention, both Roger McDowell and Jesse Orozco pitching very well out of the bullpen. So behind the quality starters, they've got an excellent left-right punch with the relievers. They may not, and underline may several times, because there are quality teams, including the Cardinals in the National League East, once they turn it around. But the Mets may not be catchable.
It starts, and sometimes, if you're in a slump, it ends with starting pitching. And they have got a lot of starting pitching in the Mets. For the ball game, in fact, some of the Cubs were talking about Francona saying the toughest guy for me to hit on the staff, and some others agreed, is Fernandez. Left-handed with that unique delivery. Looks like he's throwing uphill. Gooden's no picnic, obviously. You think we'd ever see the day where we might think somebody in modern-day baseball might be comparable to Dwight Gooden? How about Roger Clemens in Boston? What he's done. Struck out 10 the other day, and like he didn't have a good performance.
3-1 pitch coming to Durham with Sandberg at second. Full count to him now. Last time up, Durham hit a ball to right field that was about as well hit as any of the 3 home runs the Cubs have produced today, but the wind isn't helping balls hit in that direction, and Gwynn caught it on the track.
Tim Stoddard better get the breaking ball down, or he's going to have a lot of trouble. Keeps hanging sliders.
And he walks Durham. First and second with 2 out for Ron Say, who has singled and doubled.
Steve Boros thinks he's got the Cardinals offense going after that 13-run performance a couple of days ago. He said, boy, they are starting to swing the bat. They were down around 200.
Yeah, but the Giants beat the Cardinals in 10 last night at Busch Stadium 2-1, so the Cards couldn't produce any runs there.
All those Giants under Roger Craig throwing that split-fingered fastball, it sounds like. And I put that split-fingered fastball in quotes. I think that's what it is.
You question the terminology, or you question the dampness?
You got her, kid.
You're talking spitball then, not forkball.
Greaseball, whatever it is. I'm not going to accuse anybody of doing that. Forkball is a little bit more difficult to teach. Took Gaylord Perry a lot of years to refine it. You got to have big hands. Elroy Face, the great reliever, took him a lot of time to refine it. Just a shade less of a touch pitch than the knuckleball. You'll learn that pitch overnight. Or in a week.
2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 5th. Right field, Gwynn coming in and toward the line. It's drifting away from him, and he takes it as he crosses the foul line. It was a fair ball when he made the catch. So the Cubs strand a couple, still lead 6-3. Here's another edition of Baseball Remembers.
Old Spice presents Baseball Remembers. Brought to you by unmistakably masculine Old Spice. Splash on the feeling. Splash on Old Spice. Roy Campanella remembers Branch Ricky's courage in integrating the game of baseball.
My goodness, I can recall one day he called Jackie and I into his office, and he said, now, I have stuck my neck out the window for you fellas. Please don't let them chop it off. Be good players on the field and be a gentleman off of the field. I'll never forget those words. And I know I said, you don't have to worry. And I'm proud to say that, gee, being one of the first black to look and see every team has integrated today. Gee, yes, it's American game now for sure.
All you gotta do is smell the coffee, splash on Old Spice. Now you're moving, isn't it nice? Standing tall now, you're doing it right. Pour out a handful, splash on some spice.
Nobody sends more guys out there than America's favorite, unmistakably masculine Old Spice.
Now you're moving, don't think twice. Splash on the feeling, splash on some spice.
Well, some people hereabouts have modified their stance. They'd prefer all-day ball at Wrigley Field, but they're willing to tolerate a limited number of night games as long as the team doesn't move away altogether.
As I recall, it was a poll taking of about 400 fans, not necessarily in this neighborhood. Those are the neighbors, and I think that seems to be the consensus around here. No lights. You think the crime rate would go up? There some are sitting with those nice, comfortable seats out in left field, but I think there are about 400 fans that 70% of or so, or 72 said they want lights. And Dallas Green and the executives here have said they will only use the lights at least the first 4 or 5 years for about 18 night games, but they need it to increase their attendance, their television ratings for night games in the Chicago area. And as beautiful as this park is, some of it is quite antiquated.
Ball 1 to Kennedy. You know, 110 years ago today, the Cubs played their first ever home game, no, not here at Wrigley Field, at the intersection of 23rd and State Streets. May 10th, 1876, Albert Spalding pitched a 6-0 shutout for the early Cubs over the Reds. The Reds, of course, the first professional team. 1869 is when they were formed. Softly in the left, Matthews coming on, and he's there. 1876, I believe, was the first year of the National League as an official league.
And I guess the ball used then, and for a while after that, was a Spalding baseball, wasn't it? Okay, Sean Dunston, you see him going in every direction today, although he didn't make that catch. They say at third, Mumphrey stays in center, Matthews in left. He's going to have to cover a lot of ground in all directions.
McReynolds fouls the slow curveball out of play. McReynolds has struck out and doubled. Top of the sixth, 6-3 Chicago. Fastball high.
The Eck has calmed down a little bit. When he was up in Boston, Peter Gammon's article, he's now with Sports Illustrated, talking about the Eckies and the language that only Eckersley could speak and no one else could understand. I don't think they've seen too much of the more serious Dennis Eckersley in the Chicago area. He's holding his horns a little bit.
1-2 pitch. He reaches for it and just serves it into right field for a hit. An extra base hit at bat. Moreland gets it back in, and it's a one-out double for McReynolds, his second double of the day. That one may have Eckersley talking to himself in that language only he understands.
Eckersley probably would have thrown this pitch in exactly the same place if he had to do it all over again, about 2-3 inches off the plate. He squibs it off the end of the bat. Wasn't a bad pitch. And in the event that something gets going for the Padres with Stoddard scheduled a couple hitters down the line after Nettles and Flannery, and bullpen for San Diego gets going in a hurry in case they want to pinch it. Craig Lefferts. Boy, was he solid in that 84 season for the Padres. Former Cub, that sinker ball, slider, good off-speed pitch, forkball, I believe. They score some runs. I like the looks of this Padres team. Eckersley, that's what he's done today. He's up to 90.
They're only in the sixth. 2-0 pitch to Nettles. A drive to deep right. Moreland turns. He's back on the track, and this one's out of here. Nettles hits his third of the year. Brings the Padres to within one, and when he touches home plate, he's put Gil Hodges behind him on the all-time home run list. 371 a lifetime for Nettles.
Typical of the Cubs. Fans hug the bleachers. They don't want it. Nettles might. In fact, I don't think the fans did it for this, but I believe they may save this for Greg Nettles. It's kind of a milestone home run for him again. When you're a pitcher, nothing worse than a sinker baller who comes out without his sinker, or a control pitcher who comes out without his control. Both Hoyt and Eckersley have done that today. Control is all but left him for today's ball game.
It's 6-5 Cubs. Flannery with a little pop. Dunston and Matthews now over in the bullpen, and with trouble on the mound, he still makes the catch. Well, that was a very tough play, trying to keep his eye on the ball, and he knows only too well the whereabouts of the mound, trying to keep his footing.
He had the sun, he had the wind, he had that little hump on the foul line, and then he had the pitcher's rubber. Guy Hoffner just started warming up, trying to give Matthews some help. There are a lot of balls hit out his direction that can be adventures, and now that his knee has been so badly torn up, he's had surgery, and even more so. Pretty nice recovery.
They're going to hit for Stoddard.
So Carmelo Martinez.
And as he gets ready, let's pause for station identification on the NBC television network.
NBC for Southern Nevada. KVBC TV3 Las Vegas.
Seldom do we come to Wrigley Field when we don't see an exciting ball game. Certainly the case today. Bob Costas with Tony Kubek. Eckersley and Hoyt were the starters. Eckersley obviously still there for Chicago. Hoyt was relieved by Stoddard briefly, and Lefferts is going to come on in the bottom of the sixth.
Martinez has hit 3 home runs. He has just 4 RBIs.
Martinez hit 21 last year. He came to San Diego from the Cubs organization in exchange for Scott Sanderson prior to the 1984 season. Martinez, of course, that's Guy Hoffman, who's tomorrow's starter. So he's just getting his work in, I would guess. Martinez was responsible for one of the great lines in recent baseball history. They critiqued his defensive work in left field. He said, look, I'm not that bad. I only have trouble with fly balls, which is a drawback for an outfielder.
He can look awfully bad on breaking balls, too. Give him some high fastballs in right and left center field. Can tear some seats out.
Curveball lined into center field for a hit.
So the act gave him a hanging breaking ball.
And Martinez comes through off the bench. How many hits do the Padres have? They're in double figures now. 11?
10. I may have miscounted.
That is their 11th hit.
Billy Connors came through the Mets organization. And he struggled with the staff last year. Injuries. They went on special conditioning programs, monitored their pitchers during the offseason. Dallas Green and Jim Fry and Billy Connors decided that bike riding, which so many players are doing these days, was not strenuous enough for the legs. They were trying to prevent those lower back and hamstring pull injuries. Sutcliffe suffered a severe tear last year. Heck, there have been rumors that Jimmy Fry's job may be in jeopardy in this area. I don't know if it was true, but as you said earlier, but I heard the name Billy Martin mentioned, not only with the White Sox and not in the papers. The guy Jimmy Fry, who won a pennant, came close to getting the World Series, except for the great comeback by the Padres just 2 years ago. He won also at Kansas City. Much job security is there anymore?
Won at KC in 1980. A year later, he was gone. Dick Hauser replacing him. Roberts with a fair ball for extra bases. This is the 12th Padre hit, and we're in the 6th. Dunlop will stop the runner Martinez at third.
Interesting when a pitcher has control problems and he just can't spot the ball anywhere. They are playing Leon Roberts, to hit the ball the opposite way. They shorten up in left. The center fielder Mumphrey goes to left center field. And what does Eckersley do? Durham way off the line. He gives him a pitch inside, a sinker ball that he pulls in the right field corner. So didn't pitch him the way they were playing him.
Tomorrow's scheduled starters, Mark Thurman and Guy Hoffman. You can scratch that because here comes Hoffman. Eckersley has allowed 12 base hits. He leaves runners at second and third behind him.
Presenting the Honda 4Trax. Only from Honda.
Liberty is an idea handed down from generation to generation, people to people. America honors the Statue of Liberty centennial by minting United States Liberty coins, valuable keepsakes that treasure liberty always. U.S. Liberty coins, singly or in sets at banks, savings and loans, and Kmart stores. Keep Liberty in mint condition forever.
Gotta get a muffler. Sometimes you need a muffler, but you don't have a lot of time. Or money.
Gotta get a muffler.
And sometimes you just don't have a lot of faith.
Take it to Midas.
You'll never be thrilled about replacing a muffler. But without fast service and good prices, you won't be sorry either.
Take it to Midas. He's gotta get a muffler. Take it to someone you trust.
Your baseball heroes come to life in an all-star battle. Home run slugger Mike Schmidt, batting champion Wade Boggs, and Montreal speedster Tim Raines. Joe Garagiola hosts a showdown of baseball's best at the Big League Decathlon Challenge on NBC Sports World.
And Leon Durham is one of the competitors you'll see on the Baseball Decathlon Challenge, hosted by Joe Garagiola later this month.
Producer of today's game, David Neal, produced that show. Rick Sutcliffe, who has walked 33 already this year, he is on the left. It has been a struggle for Rick. Dennis Eckersley and Bob Costas, as we followed him into the dugout, read the lips of Eckersley, who said when he hit the bench and sat down, "I have never thrown the ball so badly in my entire life." He couldn't spot the ball in any way, shape, or form where he wanted it. Lee Smith, the big stopper.
Jerry Royster comes on to bat for John Kruk with the switch to the left-handed pitcher. Did he go around? Yes, Hoffman is in front of him, 0-2. So Kruk hit his first big league homer in the first inning. Now
Middle
he
relief.
leaves.
Excuse me, Bob. Middle relief was a real problem last year. George Frazier had a knee problem. He struggled. So non-roster players. Matt Keogh, he's pitching in relief with his shoulder apparently all right. Guy Hoffman, he's trying to fill that role in the middle. And spot started.
If Hoffman can get them out of this inning, Eckersley could still be the winning pitcher, despite yielding 12 hits, 2 of them homers, in 5 2/3. The Cubs have a precarious 6-5 lead with runners at second and third and 2 out. In the dirt, and Davis is able to block it. It's a good thing for Eckersley that he swung the bat well today. He had 2 base hits while he was in there.
2-run home run. The second.
Without the 2-run homer, he'd be on the losing end.
See Jody Davis blocking some pitches. Breaking ball from Hoffman. He's improved not only his throwing, his footwork.
2-2 pitch. On the ground to short. Looks like they'll get out of it. They do. After 5.5, Cubs 6, Padres 5.
Brill cream, a little dollop will do ya.
Dab.
Not this. New Brill Cream Mousse. A little dollop gives my hair soft, natural control all day.
Mmm.
New Brill Cream Men's Grooming Mousse.
Brill cream, a little dollop will do ya.
Huh. You're wearing this because of your new secretary.
Me? I'm wearing Ice Blue Aqua Velva because the icy cool formula makes my face feel great.
But that scent, it's sinful. There's something about an ice blue aqua velva, man.
Something big is happening at Sears this week. You can save 40 to 50% on Super Guard radial tires, as low as $29.99. All shocks are on sale, too, as low as $5.99. You save 20 to 40%. See, this week we're installing confidence in a big way. Now through Saturday, Sears National Automotive Sale is on.
There's more for your life
In our new century.
at Sears.
Hey, did you guys see who's playing tonight?
Oh, wow, they're fantastic.
But we gotta go out with Mom and Dad.
Yeah, but those guys are outrageous.
I'd love to see them, but...
Hey, why don't we bring them?
Great idea.
Bring them.
Great game. Thanks, kids.
No problem getting Ben to take us to the next baseball game.
Major League Baseball, a family tradition.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Well, the Padres, in their first 17 games this year, had 13 of them decided by 1 run. In 29 games so far, 19 have been decided by 1 run. And they're back in another close one now, trailing 6-5.
Off the subject of baseball just momentarily, and we do digress on occasion. Shall we put to rest, for at least part of the country, the name of it is not Marvin, it is not Kirby. What is your one-day-old youngster's name?
His name is Keith Michael Costas.
But he will be called Mickey after your idol.
That remains to be seen.
Craig Lefferts. See if he can keep the ball down. Eckersley and Hoyt had trouble in that area.
He better against Davis, who cleared the back of the bleachers his last time up. All point. Royster batted for Kruk and stays in the game and plays left field. Line drive right field, leadoff single.
So perhaps the Cubs bats are starting to get going at the expense of the Padres pitchers. He took that sinker ball, Jody Davis did, outer part of the plate, didn't try and pull it.
And that's the 9th hit for the Cubs, as you see, as the line score pops up.
Man on your screen, a key man of this Cubs. If they are going to make any kind of comeback in this division, he's been catching an awful lot early. He's had a lot of duress the last couple of years.
Switch hitter Mumphrey turns around, bats right-handed now. He's twice flied to center. Hoffman moves out into the on-deck circle. To Mumphrey. As Tony mentioned, Lefferts was once with the Cubs. He came over to San Diego along with Carmelo Martinez in that Scott Sanderson transaction prior to the '84 season. A little tapper to Nettles. Play to second, and they get the force.
Now that looked like a true forkball. Had good arm speed, had a good downward tumbling action. A little scroogey action to it also. Some forkballs are just thrown too hard these days, or split-finger fastball to be forkballs. You can get the double play pitch with the sinker and with the forkball.
Nettles in on the grass. Garvey holding Mumphrey, and Hoffman misses the bunt for strike one. Dunston on deck.
I think if there had been no outs, you might not have seen Hoffman hitting right here, because they had somebody warming up in the bullpen, thought, no, he has sat down now. Fry in this ballpark, without the out off the bat of Mumphrey, may have wanted to pad the score a little bit. In this ballpark, you'd better. 2-1. Mets over the Reds.
Same score in Montreal with the Dodgers on top. Nettles charges again, and it's strike two as Hoffman bunts foul and got Kennedy on the bare hand.
Hand or the wrist. Perhaps he's fortunate didn't get those fingers. He was coming out of the crouch in case there was going to be a bunt and run.
How bad have things gotten in Cincinnati? We saw their score trailing the Mets. Not only have they booed Pete Rose this week, but a banner was unfurled, and I might note quickly removed by security guards at Riverfront Stadium, that said, "End the misery, sacrifice Shotzi."
That is the St. Bernard. You characterized him as a schnauzer or something a couple of weeks ago.
I was hallucinating. 1-2 now to Hoffman. Let's see if Jim Fry keeps the bunt on. He does. Hoffman gets it down this time. Great. Successful sacrifice. Roberts covering at first. So as the Cubs look for a little bit of a pad here, Mumphrey is at second with 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Chicago leads at 6-5. Jim Fry, manager of the year in virtually every poll in '84. As Tony mentioned, took the Royals to the World Series in '80. But things change.
Interesting to see how Dunston hits with 2 outs, runner in scoring position. See if he goes the opposite way with a single baller. Didn't have to, and didn't get it at all. End of the bat.
And it's Royster. That'll do it. No runs ahead, a man is left. Then we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Monday. I'll be there. And so will Don Johnson, Michael J. Fox, and the greatest collection of stars we've ever assembled. NBC's 60th anniversary. Monday.
I ain't gonna forget this. visit the Sportsbook at the exciting Las Vegas Club Hotel and Casino. The Las Vegas Club Sportsbook offers you all the latest betting odds and information on all daily and future sporting events. Check out the latest odds on the 1986 Major League Pennant races and World Series, as well as Super Bowl 21. Enjoy watching sports on live satellite television with top events from all around the world. For sports action at its very best, come to the congenial Sportsbook in the Las Vegas Club Hotel and Casino, Fremont and Main Downtown Casino Center.
Wanted by Honda car lovers. A discount Honda automobile dealership that they can trust. And now they've found it. That's right, Falcone's Tropicana Honda. The largest and only discount Honda dealership in the state of Nevada. With no high-pressure sales. All of our cars are clearly marked with our new discounted prices. Just look for the red sale tags, check our price, and then you decide. Join the Honda family at Falcone's Tropicana Honda today.
Losing half a day or more waiting for treatment in a hospital emergency room is costly, both for the employee and the employer. And that's why more people are turning to Industrial Medical Group. The new larger facility means faster and more effective treatment of work-related injuries. They keep you informed and help minimize the hassles and delays involved with the paperwork. And there's no direct cost to the employer or employee. Find out more by calling Industrial Medical Group, 1 block south of Spring Mountain on Polaris.
Turn to 3 for Wild Kingdom, Sunday at 6:30.
They had to recall thousands of media guides as Boros replaced Dick Williams just as spring training began this year. Boros has twice replaced fiery, controversial managers, and obviously his demeanor, which is more easygoing, more analytical, and less volatile, was a factor in both of those moves. He replaced Billy Martin in Oakland, and now he replaces Dick Williams in San Diego. Bob Dernier, the new center fielder. Jerry Mumphrey moves from center to left, and Matthews, who can't cover much ground these days, is out of the game. Win is 1 for 3. Boros says that he will be a little bit more confrontational than he has been in the past, this time around with San Diego, but his basic approach is not to yell and scream. He is a very intelligent man. Here's Sandberg. He has made 1 error in his last 87 games, dating back to last season, and none, obviously, this year. This nice a guy and hear that many boos? That's the question Garvey might ask himself.
Well, Steve, you got a book just out on the market. What else would it be called but Garvey? They say it's a very honest, forthright book. Haven't seen it yet.
There's his answer for the bleacher fans. He's 2 for 4 today.
It looked like he was going to finish his baseball career, Garvey, with a 300 lifetime average. His last 2 seasons have dropped that to about 298. It's awfully difficult to push it back up with all the at-bats he's had.
He last hit 300 in 1980 for the Dodgers. He's been no lower than 281, no higher than 294 since then.
And there's guys like Jimmy Rice who hit for power. Look out.
Kennedy whacks one. Moreland goes back, and this one is off the ivy. In play. Garvey will be stopped at third, and Kennedy, believe it or not, has only a single. He came within a foot or so of a home run and settles for a single.
I'll tell you how short the dimensions are, and also the lack of running speed of Kennedy as the carom is played properly. Just 368 behind those vines in right field, and Moreland, who backs off as soon as he saw he couldn't get it, he makes an outstanding play to keep the double play in order, but that very quickly gets the Cubs bullpen up.
Kennedy's running speed has hurt the Padres twice in this game. In the 3rd inning, he was at first base with 2 out and did not score on a double by McReynolds with 2 out. And that's the difference in the game right now. The Cubs leading 6-5. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And ball 1 to McReynolds. On deck. Slow curveball tapped foul. 1-1.
see how important that play is by Moreland if he can get the ground ball, although Hoffman, with a lot of curveballs, and basically a curveball is not a double play pitch.
Line drive caught by Sandberg to first. Safe. Kennedy almost cost them double, but he was able to reverse himself and get back in time.
Another mistake pitch. McReynolds going the other way, trying to stay out of the double play, maybe hit the gap between Durham and Sandberg. He hit it right on the nose, but right at Sandberg.
They're calling Nettles back, and they're going to send Templeton up to hit for him. Switch hitter Templeton to bat from the right side against Hoffman. Unless Fry makes a move, he's got the lefty Fontenot and the right-hander Frazier in the bullpen.
Templeton hitting 182 from the left side, right-handed 222. You wonder how much that knee bothers him, not just in the field, but up at the plate.
So this is what happens when you're 41 years old. Nettles homered his last time up off Eckersley, and he's yanked here with the left-hander on the mound in favor of Templeton. Garvey at third and Kennedy at first. 2 out, top of the 7th.
Still too early for Jimmy Fry to be thinking about his stopper, Lee Smith, recently off the disabled list, but he does have the pen going.
To Tempe. Hoffman quickly ahead of him.
Right-hander George Frazier, left-hander Ray Fontenot. They struggled a lot last year.
The whole staff struggled. Injuries to the starters. 5 starting pitchers on the disabled list simultaneously. Back through the middle. Sandberg turns and throws and got him. A few years ago, you wouldn't have gotten Templeton, but that takes nothing away from the gold glove of Ryne Sandberg. We watch it again.
Talk about instincts. Wow, he knew that he could not get the force out at second. He knew from the right side the running speed of Templeton.
And now we bring you another edition of 7th inning stretch.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher presents the 7th inning stretch. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. This Southern California favorite is one of baseball's all-time Ironmen, and in the field he's good as gold. Can you name this down-to-earth hero?
Gatorade is thirsty. Gatorade is thirsty.
Nothing cuts through thirst like Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It quenches the thirst in your throat while it helps put back the potassium, fluids, and minerals your body sweats away.
Gatorade is thirsty. For that deep down body thirst.
Steve Garvey was a star in Dodger Blue for more than a decade. But in 1983, he headed south to San Diego. And it was in a Padre uniform that he became the National League's all-time Ironman by playing in his 1,118th consecutive game. A winner of the league's Most Valuable Player Award in 1974, Garvey has also snared 4 Gold Gloves with his play at first. In a star-studded career, Steve Garvey lends a touch of class every time he takes the field.
That's Steve Garvey, the subject of the latest installment of the 7th inning stretch. Gary Templeton, robbed of a hit on the fine play by Ryne Sandberg to preserve the 1-run Cub lead, stays in the game, plays shortstop, and Tim Flannery moves from shortstop to third with Nettles out. Frazier and Fontenot sit down, and Lee Smith gets up as we move to the bottom of the 7th in Jim Fry's bullpen.
He can be one of the most overpowering stoppers in the game. He's been throwing a few more sliders the last couple of years to mix in with that fastball, as has Bruce Gossage. Gossage throwing a lot of sliders now.
Bob Dernier now occupies what once was Gary Matthews' spot in the lineup. Dernier having come in for defense to play center, and Mumphrey moved to left in the last half inning. So Dernier is the leadoff man here in the 7th, followed by Sandberg and Moreland. One of the differences, and there are several, between the Cubs of '84 and the Cubs of the second half of '85 and thus far in '86, Dernier ignited their attack consistently in '84. The figures show you he hasn't done that this year. McReynolds with Royster, and it's McReynolds, the center fielder.
I would think a lineup that Jimmy Fry would like to employ if Dernier gets back on the beam. He so greatly improves your defense in center field. He's one of the best chasing the ball down. But to get him in the leadoff spot with his base stealing speed, if you get Dunston hitting second, you'll get more fastball per veer. Sandberg hitting third, and you've got some defense and a combination of speed in the lineup. Dernier's got to start hitting. Platoon some outfield spots, whether it's with Bosley, Mumphrey, Matthews.
Sandberg. Breaking ball for a strike.
When you first saw Sandberg, did you think he was going to be the kind of player he turned out to be? Because he almost looked stiff as a kid. I saw him one time in the minor league spring training camp.
Biff Roberts, he doesn't have a play.
Sandberg, when you first see him, you don't think he's running fast, but he is. His stolen base totals show you. You don't think he's got the kind of power. He has spilled out and gotten stronger. We've already talked about what he's done with his glove. We just saw him end the inning with a brilliant play behind second base on Templeton.
That's really what surprised me, the way he's developed the power. I thought he'd be the kind of guy who'd hit a lot of doubles, line drive power. But when he came over here to Wrigley Field, obviously he realized what he could do in this ballpark, and then with maturity he filled out, and he has become the complete player.
And they thought when he first came up, he's kind of a shy kid, and he wouldn't have that drive, but you couldn't measure it by his outward demeanor. You couldn't read what was inside. But boy, he is one tough kid, mentally and physically.
Moreland now. But again, Lefferts goes to first. Moreland has homered, fanned, and flied to left.
He's got good bat control. They will hit and run with a Moreland with Sandberg on first base.
There goes Sandberg. Hits softly to right. Ryan has to get back. Gwynn makes the catch and doesn't throw. And the Mets add 2 more. And with the bullpen we've mentioned, and with the way Cincinnati has been slumping, you put all those factors together, and I think we're looking at 18 of the last 19 and 20-4 overall for the Mets. A start that's beginning to approach the Tigers of '84. Got a ways to go yet, but
Cincinnati with the worst record in baseball. They could go 6-19. They've lost 9 of their last 10 ball games before today. Ooh.
What were the Tigers eventually in '84? 35-5 or 34-5?
35-5, I believe.
That really puts it in perspective. Here are the Mets with a tremendous start, about to be 20-4, and they would have to win 15 of their next 16 to equal the Tigers' start 2 years ago.
But the Tigers that year, they had that amazing streak on the road, winning so well.
to Durham. Sandberg at first. 2 out in the bottom half of the 7th, and the Cubs leading 6-5. Padres had the tying run at third with 1 out in the top half of this inning and couldn't get him home. Pitch out and nothing on.
I think Jimmy Fry for Leon Durham prefers, or at least that pitch, the situation could change from pitch to pitch to keep that hole open for Durham to swing through. The sinker ball, he's more likely to pull it on. He doesn't pull the slider this time.
Royster in left field makes the catch. So an infield single by Sandberg is all the Cubs manage in the bottom of the 7th. It remains a 1-run game. Lee Smith to the mound now as we move to the top half of the 8th, and the Cubs trying to protect the 6-5 lead. And a new first baseman, Terry Francona, the former Expos in, Leon Durham out. Francona, one of the best looking young hitters in the game until a few years ago when he ripped up his knee colliding with the wall in St. Louis. Expos let him go. Cubs signed him to a minor league contract and brought him up from Iowa a while back.
Well, that move, that little subtle strategy you do not see in the American League, I think that's what Jimmy Fry's thinking. With Durham having made the last out, he'll probably pull the double switch, put Smith in Durham's spot, and put Francona in the pitcher spot, number 9, in case San Diego rallies. He could save himself a pitcher.
Swing and a miss by Flannery as Smith shows him the heater. Dane Orge is in the on-deck circle. 36-year-old veteran reserve Dane Orge, who now says, contrary to a published report, he won't retire.
Somebody had printed, I guess, that he was going to go one more time with his mail order catalog business, I guess. So it's not true. He can still hit. Remember the league championship series? You would think there'd be more runs than just a 6-5 ball game, but there have been some balls held in this ballpark to right field. A couple, I think. All those hits.
24 hits and 5 of them home runs. You would think a few more runs would be scored.
Quick down. I have just 2 walks, 1 issued by each team, so that keeps the score down a little bit.
Check swing foul, and it's still 1-2 to Flannery.
Lee Smith at times goes to that 95-mile-an-hour fastball and that slider. He's not consistent at 95. Who's on the bench? What's left? Marvell Wynn is back now too, isn't he? He made the ball game. Look out, Lee.
And a leadoff hit for Flannery. You're right, Marvell Wynn should be added to that list.
Another thing that's happening too is with the 24-man rosters, you will see down on the bottom of a lot of managers' cards the addition of a pitcher. Gene Mock, with a lot of injuries in California, he's had Terry Forster, who's got a .395 lifetime batting average, listed as a pinch hitter. Tim Lawler up in Boston, he might pinch hit for you. Marvell, congratulations, pal.
Marvell Jr., born a couple of days ago. Whenever Dane Orge decides to pack it in, be it after this year, as some have speculated, or somewhere down the road, he'll have some memories. Hit almost 400 for the Cardinals in the 1982 World Series as they beat the Brewers. And then the big game-winning hit for Kansas City in Game 6 of the World Series against the Cardinals last year. Flannery, who opened with a single, is at first. Orge batting for Lefferts.
Time Tim Flannery had decent running speed and might steal you a base off the high leg kick from Lee Smith. So a little more respect has been given to the trophy of Jody Davis. Up there like Orge, you may see some movement. Let's see. Nope.
He hasn't just stifled Padre base runners in the first 2 games of this series. He's humiliated them. They have gotten away with absolutely nothing on the bases against Davis. He's thrown Bip Roberts out 3 times. 3-0 to Orge now.
Interesting how the accumulation of knowledge passes from generation to generation in baseball. Johnny Oates passing it to Jody Davis, catching skills. Jim Fry's coach Johnny Oates saying that he learned how to catch from guys like Jim Hegan and many others.
Orge was taking all away.
You would think the runner would start now to try and stay out of a double play. Of course, it's awfully difficult to do with a guy like Lee Smith, who you swing through so many pitches. Maybe the thing that negates the steal attempt, although he's leading.
He is going. And this one is hit down the left field line and out of play.
Once you get that count with the Lee Smith, he may back off the fastball just a little bit just to try and throw it for a strike when he's got 3 balls. And then the tendencies for managers opposing will be to run a little bit more on this count. He's even in the counter ahead. You're not going to start him because he lets it all go. He doesn't aim the ball. He just says, here it is, hit it. Playing Orge to hit a little bit late. Mr. Demir in center field.
3-2 pitch with Flannery running. Swing and a miss. Throw from Davis. And he's in there. Dunston had to reach back on the third base side of the bag. The throw actually beat Flannery, but Sean had to pull it in and then bring it back around, and that's what allowed Tim to steal it.
Dunston leaves the base unoccupied, takes the throw almost on a run, and Jody Davis' ball did not tail back into toward the first base side. It kind of sailed away. Still a nice attempt at a tag, and Oshkosh's own Dutch Rennert waits to make sure with a great angle on the play, and Rennert says, you are safe.
What you also saw on that pitch was your basic rising fastball. By the time Orge completed his swing, he had swung at ball 4. Bip Roberts, 3 for 4 yesterday, 3 for 4 so far today, including a double his last time up.
He's about the 5th or maybe 6th leadoff hitter that Steve Boris has tried, Roberts.
Sandberg with Flannery moving to third with 2 out.
Marvell Wynn's got a bat. Marvell Wynn has been trying the leadoff spot. Roberts, Kruk, Royster, I believe. Sure, Flannery didn't hit there one time, but tried a bunch.
Even with that last ground out, Roberts is 10 for his last 19, so he might be in the process of winning the job. Now here's Marvell Wynn, who was penciled in as the starter. Didn't make it from the airport in time. John Kruk opened in his place and hit a home run in the top half of the first inning to give the Padres a brief 2-0 lead. Royster has since hit for Kruk. And now Wynn bats for Royster.
Ron Say was moved in by somebody on the bench in case Wynn tries to score the run with a bunt. He's got speed.
Cubs, top of the 8th. Flannery at third, 2 out. Oh, that is just raring back and firing.
He has a chance, I believe, with the kid Ken Howell of the Dodgers to be an awesome reliever, Lee Smith. He has been at times. He has been inconsistent at times, too. A couple of years ago, he had some knee problems, tried to pitch through the pain.
The 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Wynn is on deck. The starters at the moment remain the pitchers of record. Hoyt on the losing side. Eckersley on the winning side. 2-2.
Billy Connors, for the last couple of years, to make the Lee Smith fastball look a little bit better, has asked him to throw a few more sliders. Billy Connor's also aware, as is Jody Davis, that if he tries to overthrow a slider in a situation like this with a runner on third, a tying run, if it bounces, it could be a tie ball game if not blocked.
Here's the 2-2. The count is full. He wants to decide it with Wynn. You don't want Gwynn to come up in this situation.
Which scientist was it? Or was it a collection that said a fastball, according to the laws of physics, it was an impossibility for it to rise? Did you see the last one?
Or the one he struck Orge out on a moment ago. Flannery walks
Davis
down the line at third.
Jody giving Lee Smith a pep talk.
It worked. Wynn swung at ball 4, but then again he barely saw it. We'll be back.
Hey, old buddy! My mower broke down. Mind if I borrow yours?
Sure. Old buddy.
Why is it that the grass is always greener wherever there's a John Deere lawnmower?
Oh, you weren't around, so I helped myself.
Because you can always depend on a John Deere lawnmower to keep running when others don't. It's got adjustable speed drive, a blade brake clutch, and a 2 or 4 cycle engine.
Don't tell me. Your lawnmower's not working.
I don't even own one.
Nothing runs like a Deere.
Who took the case of Miller Lite? Well, everyone had a motive. Because light tastes great? Yeah. Or because light's less filling. I know who did it, and that's your first clue.
It's no mystery that there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Who took the case of Miller Lite? I got another clue for you. I know for certain the culprit drinks light because it tastes great.
But I know it wasn't me.
It's no mystery that there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
These are the hands of Mr. Goodwrench. Hands that work. Hands with the know-how to fix things. Hands that are strong and sure. Hands that are gentle, accurate. Hands that can almost see where the trouble is and how to make it right again. Hands of skill. Hands that care. The working hands of Mr. Goodwrench. And no one knows your GM car better. No one.
An American tradition continues with an old-fashioned doubleheader. Next Saturday, the world champion Kansas City Royals meet the Chicago White Sox. Then, the New York Mets take on the National League West champion Dodgers. Plus regional action. Check local listings. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
Down behind home plate, Manuel Esquivel, the Prime Minister of the Central American country of Belize. And there we see the lady who is a Cub fan with a T-shirt that says, "You better Belize it."
You know, they have so many fans there. I think with the Superstation coming out of here and radio station, they, as I recall, even sent Gary Matthews down there, the public relations gesture. So you walk down the streets of some of the cities there, and you can just hear the Cubs broadcast and Harry Carey's voice bellowing through the streets. So he doesn't need a microphone to do that, even from here to Belize.
Well, now I must admit, I'm not sure which one was the Prime Minister, the guy with the peculiar hat or the fellow with the sunglasses. Say lines one, but it's foul. Evidently, they have rather rakish governmental figures in Belize.
McCullers a hard thrower. Perhaps not as intimidating as the Goose Gossage delivery. A slider. Marvell Wynn in center field. McReynolds has moved to left.
And Lance McCullers trying to keep it close. One and two to Say, looking for his third base hit. Single, double, fly to right. In the ninth, the Padres have Gwynn, Garvey, and Kennedy scheduled, the heart of their order. Had to be better than 90 miles an hour, the fastball of McCullers.
He came up at the end of last season and struck out just under 1 per inning pitch. In Las Vegas restarted the season. He struck out 148 and 149 in the third innings. legacy of Dick Williams when he was here, and Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, is still here. They are sticklers for throwing strikes. It becomes even more important here that even a hard thrower, you don't put people on in little old Wrigley Field.
Threw him a breaking ball and got it.
You can't sit on any breaking stuff off this kid. I think he just turned 23 in March. You want to pull the trigger in a big hurry off his fastball, and you swing at some bad sliders from him.
There are different kinds of breaking pitches. Obviously, there's a hard, tight slider. That one had a bigger bend on it, didn't it?
A little bit more so. Walters, from the left side out of their bullpen, has that same kind of slider. Almost a slurve. And of course, the true slider is the hard one, breaks 6-8 inches. Little downward action. The Carlton, Guidry, Sparky Lyle sliders. Now they take some change speeds on it. They'll still call it a slider. 5-1, New York over Cincinnati.
The juggernaut cannot be slowed. The Expos have tied the Dodgers.
Early to call them a juggernaut. 2-2.
Homers today. Kruk and Nettles for the Padres. All strike 1-1. Moreland, Davis, and Eckersley for the Cubs.
It's kind of a herky-jerky delivery, doesn't he? The elbows and kneecaps are flying all over the place. And unlike a lot of short relievers and middle relievers, he pitches from the windup. Almost all have gone from the stretch, even with nobody on base. Some say that was started by Bruce Sutter. Don't know if that's true.
He was one of the first, if not the first. I saw it do it. Fastball low and away, 3-1. Jerry Mumphrey on deck.
Wow. He was sitting on a fastball. Obviously 3-1. He didn't catch up to it, but it wasn't a pretty good spot, up and in. Jody likes to get those arms out.
He extended the arms on the homer. He hit over the back of the bleachers earlier in the game. Threw him a curveball and it misses, so he walks in with 1 out. The curve or the slurve you were discussing a moment ago.
There's some warm-up action and down in the Cubs bullpen, but it has nothing to do with pitchers. With Lee Smith in the ballgame, Manny Trio, we say, having hit. Trio will probably go in to play third base for defensive purposes. He's a good utility man, good guy to have around in case somebody gets hurt second base. He could even pinch hit for you third base now with that strong throwing arm. You don't see that transition very often from second to third, but Trio's got that kind of throwing arm.
In some games on artificial surface this year, Fry has started Trio rather than Say at third base.
Straight change.
And it is a fair ball. It took a while for Lee Wire to decide, but Garvey picks it up and tags Mumphrey.
Well, there looked like Garvey wasn't going to charge that ball quickly enough and take the sure out. Almost laid back too much and let it roll foul. Get it out, you better take it in a hurry in this situation.
We were talking about Francona earlier. He came in for defensive purposes at first base, and he occupies the pitcher's spot in the order. It was a double switch when Lee Smith entered the game as the pitcher. Francona appeared to have a terrific career about to unfold for him. 4 or 5 years ago, one of the best-looking young hitters in the game. And then he ran into the outfield wall in left field at St. Louis, I believe in the summer of '82, ripped his knee up. And although he's come back and had some pretty good numbers since then, he hasn't been the day-in, day-out player they expected him to be, and eventually the Expos released him. Cubs had him down in Iowa, brought him up, and he won a couple of games a few weeks back against the Giants with late-inning hits.
He hits so much like Pops Tito. Doesn't pull the ball a whole lot, but he hits those line drives left, right center field. He's a good guy for this Cubs team off the bench.
Bounce down to Roberts. Easy chance, and that finishes it in the bottom of the 8th. It's up to Gwynn, Garvey, and Kennedy to try to get things going as the Padres face their last licks.
Can you solved the case of the missing case? Well, now you know what happened.
Hey! Who's turning out the lights?
There's a case of Miller Lite missing.
Who took it?
Well, during May, there'll be clues and entry forms where light is sold. And if you crack the case, you'll get a crack at all kinds of prizes, like a mystery vacation worth 10 grand. And hurry, because the culprit's going to be revealed Sunday, June 1st on network television.
It's no mystery that there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Fans, please.
Mr. Garfield, welcome to Embassy Suites Hotel.
My room.
Oh, all our rooms are really two-room suites for the price of a single room.
Beautiful. Don't change a thing.
The living room, sir.
Love what you've done with this room.
The bedroom.
This is great. I need my space.
And of course, you'll want to take advantage of Embassy Suites free breakfast.
Food.
Served every morning.
At Embassy Suites, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy the sweet life.
I resemble that remark.
Lee Trevino's Golf and Truck Tips.
1. The best-selling compact trucks in America are Toyotas. 2. Toyota owners are the most satisfied compact truck owners in America. 3. Toyota prices start as low as $62.98. 4. There are over 30 Toyota models to choose from. Hey, Lee, what about the golf clubs? 5. Never bet against a guy who can do this. Who could ask for anything more? Toyota.
Another reminder about next Saturday's doubleheader on NBC. In the first half, most of you will see the Angels and Tigers. Some will see the Royals and White Sox. Then everybody sees the Mets and Dodgers with Vin and Joe in the second half.
I'll tell you, if you want to see a good-looking young hitter and first baseman, so much publicity was given to Jose Canseco of Oakland, Pete Incaviglia, of course, from the Texas Rangers, Will Clark from San Francisco. Not much was given to Danny Tartabull. Manny Trio has come in to play defensively at third base for Ron Say and the Cubs. Tartabull's going to throw it, but Wally Joyner saw him hit a grand slam off Jim Acker a couple of days ago, right center field. He has got a chance to be a hitter and a player.
Joyner of the Angels and Canseco of the A's each hit their 9th homers in their rookie seasons yesterday.
Wonder how close Kirk Gibson is to coming back. Team doctor told us a couple of weeks ago that Gibby's a quick healer, and he's going to be back quicker than people thought off that severe sprain. When he meets that Tiger ball call.
Smith against Gwynn in the top of the 9th, and a called strike from plate umpire Ed Montague. Gwynn didn't like it.
He didn't like it, and perhaps, and umpires get fooled just like hitters. You're looking for the heat from the Lee Smith, especially the first pitch. And Gwynn loves fastballs. First fastballs are near the strike zone. He'll be hacking. Started them off with an off-speed pitch. Slider.
Francona does it alone, 1 out. The cheers subside after the first out is recorded. They turn to boos for Garvey, who's 2 for 4 today, but this is the source of the booing. Game 4 of the LCS at San Diego. Lee Smith is the pitcher. He completes a 4-hit performance with the extra inning home run that wins it 7-5 in the next day. The Padres, after trailing 3-0 both in the series and on the scoreboard in Game 5, come back to win the game and the pennant.
Marv Albert's pregame show guest, Kurt Pavacco, had a nice day in that too, didn't he? Home run in postseason play.
I should have said the Padres trailed that series 2-0. That was the last year that it was best of 5. They lost the first 2 here. Cubs seemed to have a stranglehold on the series. Then they won all 3 in San Diego.
And you wonder how much of a shock that was to this Cubs ball club. The comeback, the same as you wonder how much of a shock it was to the Cardinals losing last year, 3 games to 1 up, and also the Toronto Blue Jays 3-1 up on the Kansas City Royals. Remember the 75, that great-looking young team for the Boston Red Sox? Now all of a sudden they never developed the way people thought they would. Maybe it's lingering with some of these teams.
A ball and a strike to Garvey. Kennedy on deck, and then McReynolds if they can get somebody on. Smith with the slimmest of margins to work with. 2/3 of the Padres games this year decided by 1 run so far. Here's another one. Missed the outside corner. It's 2-1.
A pitcher like Lee Smith, who can be so overpowering, if he puts any kind of wrinkle, any kind of breaking ball is a good one. A lesser pitcher, of course, they've got to have a little more break and bite to their breaking stuff. There's a breaking ball right there. But, you know, for some pitchers, you aren't overpowering. You say, hey, look, it's not that good a breaking pitch. But for Lee Smith, when you've got to sit on the fastball, a little break like this, it's like Dwight Gooden's curveball.
2-2 pitch from Smith to Garvey. Dunston comes in.
He's something.
And he got it. That ball took a crazy little hop at the end, down and away from him. And on the move, coming toward the ball, he was still able to reach out and stab it.
And, of course, in this situation, Manny Trio, even with a hard throw like Smith, is guarding the third base line, which means that Dunston has to cover more ground to his right. And he probably, in all the shortstops I've ever seen, gets more on the throw, off balance, on the run than any shortstop I've ever seen. And that I include Gary Templeton when he had that rifle. Trio once again right on the line at third, even for a left-handed hitter like Kennedy.
Kennedy 2 for 4. It's over at Shea Stadium. The Mets win again, 5-1. Ron Darling gets the victory. Lee Smith, and out away from his third save. The count is 2-0 to Kennedy. He had a bloop single in the third and then singled off the wall in right center in the seventh.
And perhaps the defense of this Cubs team, and they are short at some times when they play their power line, but perhaps the defense has saved this ball game. Remember earlier, Dunston driving for the line drive, Sandberg up the middle, a nice play with Minan. Now Dunston on another tough play. So the bats of the Padres are finding the wrong players in tough situations, Sandberg and Dunston.
The Sandberg play on Templeton in the seventh definitely saved the tying run from scoring.
How about Moreland when he held Kennedy to a single when he played that ball so well off the right field fence? That could have been second and third in big trouble.
3-1 pitch. 3-2.
That's unfair, Kennedy says, to make the perfect pitch right down at the knees or maybe lower when you're 3 balls to a strike.
And here it comes on 3-2. Kennedy hangs in.
They're standing all over this ballpark. They haven't seen a whole lot of Cubs victories thus far this year. The team has been sluggish. It is a packed house.
We'll do it once more. Forget the record. And the Cubs are 11-16. This shot right here is as good a definition of what baseball is about as anything you'll find. It's a Saturday afternoon, it's sunny, and the Cubs are playing at Wrigley. Francona, Smith covers, Cubs win. Of course, if I were Harry Carey, I would have said Cubs win about 6 times at the top of my lungs. But the Cubs do win, and we will be back.
In my line of work, your insurance isn't on a piece of paper. It's up here, and it's in your equipment. With all the technology that's built into today's cars, I just don't trust mine to anything but AC filters. An AC oil filter can help protect your gasoline engine for up to 15,000 miles. An AC air filter, up to 30,000 miles. Never wait for trouble. Protect your car with AC filters.
Now get rebates on AC filters. Call 1-800-AC-DELCO for a participating dealer.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman. Brute. It smells like a man.
Hello? Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Miss Jones! Oh, no, Miss Jones, 25 in red.
Because work is tough enough, there's Canon's NP3525 dual color copier. It lets you change colors.
Oh, not the grapes and red, just the apple.
And it's the only copier that copies in 2 colors at the same time with just a touch.
Oh, forget the grapes. Just give me more apples.
Canon's dual color copier with a singular difference. For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-Canon.
America loves its sports. America. Across the land, a tradition stands of sports and NBC. America loves its sports. America, NBC style.
The Major League Baseball Game of the Week has been brought to you by your Toyota dealer in the 1986 Standard Bed Truck. At $62.98, it's Toyota's lowest price truck. Who could ask for anything more? By Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. By Brute, quality men's fragrance and toiletries. Brute, it smells like a man. And by Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. Eckersley gets the win. He's 1-2. Hoyt the loss. He's 0-1. Smith gets his 3rd save. Ordinarily, you'd say if a guy is the winning pitcher and hits a home run, he'd be the MVP. But in truth, Eckersley allowed 12 hits in 5 2/3 and gave up 5 runs. So we'll split the MVP between that man, Sean Dunston, and Ryne Sandberg. Their defense helped protect a 1-run lead.
Presenting the 4Trax 200SX from Honda. It's so much fun. Some people can't wait to ride one. The 4Trax 200SX from Honda. More fun than you've ever dreamed of.
Welcome to the new world, where all the rules have changed. A world of financial expertise to manage cash, build IRAs, finance mortgages, and a world of insurance protection for lives, health, and property. It's the world of the Travelers, one of America's strongest diversified insurance and financial experts. Have you looked under the Travelers umbrella lately?
You're gonna love this joint, Madden. If I don't die of thirst before we get there, I can't go on, Mick.
Don't be a chump. I'm thirsty, too.
Just think of those ice-cold Miller Lights. Yeah, Light's got the big taste I need for this kind of thirst. Stand aside. I'm coming through!
Don't say it. I already know. For a big thirst, there's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
Hi, Mickey.
How'd she get here? Limo. Limo?
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the only leading motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Miller Lite will present a check for $1,000 in the names of Sean Dunston and Ryne Sandberg to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and we'll say so long. For Tony Kubek and our stat man, Steve Horn, I'm Bob Costas. Thank you for being with us from Wrigley Field in Chicago. Join us tomorrow for live boxing on Ringside and on Sports World. It starts at 3 Eastern Time on NBC.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, serving 13 cities in Asia and the Pacific. United, a fresh breeze across the Pacific.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television.